Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Fantasy Points live stream. I think we always have called this something points. I think this might be off-season points, draft points. It's some sort of points, but I'm glad to be here. My name's Joe Dolan. That was an incredibly awful intro, but I'm here with our staff here. It's wonderful to be with all you guys. Whether you're on YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, on our website here, just really glad to be with you guys. And what we're going to do something tonight is a little bit different, guys, than what you did last night. I think we're all hungover. I was in Discord. Graham, Scott, Wes, you guys were on the live stream. Tom, you were in Discord. We're all hurting a little bit. Some of you have already started easing the pain. I have not yet. Brolley's got the mug. Graham's got the seltzer. Wes is sticking to water tonight.
Water and coffee.
Yeah, water and coffee. Scott, what are you guzzling down?
Yeah, I shifted to Michelob Ultra, which is basically water. So
watching your waistline. Watching your okay. I'm drinking water right now. I have Jersey Mike's on the way here. Hopefully, it's here by the time we wrap up at 7. So what we're gonna do tonight? We're just gonna talk here. For the next hour or so, favorite landing spots, some of the things we noticed from the draft last night. And I want to start off by like some of the top kind of fantasy prospects who are still on the board and potential landing spots. And I'm going to tie this in here with Tom. You did some best bets for the website. I cleaned up last night with thank you, Trey Lance, by the way. That was a big win for me. But
where'd you get him at? Plus 350?
It was 350. It was 350.
Nice. Pretty early then.
Yeah, and I did, and it was. I wish I would occasionally take my own advice, because I sent Graham like the tweet that I had literally the day that the 49ers traded up to number 3. I tweeted out, I think they want Lance, not Fields. And that was before even all the Mac Jones bullshit started. Yeah. And so based on the way like Lance plays, the way I heard guys I trust like Cosell and Wes and Fran Duffy talk about him, I was like, I just didn't see and you guys all came to the same conclusion. Obviously the 49ers did as well. You don't trade 3 first-round picks for Mac Jones.
No.
And he's going to be a good player, but like I just wish I'd put the money down when it was that, because it would have been like 600 or 700 plus 700, I think. But anyway, let's start with a player, Tom, that you put in your best bets. And I think I have an idea on why you put this in your best bets, but I'll have you talk about it. And I want to talk about potential landing spots here, especially with Graham and Wes, who have studied this player pretty extensively. You have Javonte Williams under 51.5 minus, 41.
I was gonna say, I wish it was 51.5.
I would love to have that too.
Minus 138. So keep in mind, we're starting with pick 33 here. So he has to go in the next 8 picks, or actually the next 9 picks, because it's inclusive. But he has to go in the next 9 picks in order to justify that. Tom, what's your rationale for this? Because I'm frankly, it's easy. There are teams at the top of the second round. There's this good player. 2 running backs went in the first round. Obviously, there are some teams here where running backs are pretty glaring need.
Yeah, I see 4 teams right here off the bat, with the Jets at 34, Atlanta at 35, Miami at 36, 3 picks right in a row there. We could even see somebody jockeying. I mean, it sounds like the Jaguars are going to stay there at 33, but there's at least a little bit of a possibility somebody might try to make a move up there to get ahead of, those 3 running back needy teams. And even Denver, they still have Melvin Gordon. Mm-hmm. Don't really have much of a backup plan. That's right at, right near that. They're picking 40. It's right around that 41.5. So that's probably the last chance to get it there. So I think there's 4 spots where we can get that. He's minus 138. You got to pay up a little bit of a price to lay there, but it's just a huge drop off after Williams here. We had Etienne and Najee Harris go off last night, cash to over 1.5 running backs in the first round bet there. But, there's just such a big drop off here. I think, these teams are going to want to get that last really great running back before we see the little bit of the cliff, it's a bit of a cliff drop off there. So, Yeah, so I kind of like, it's only 8-9 picks there in the first to start the second round there, but I kind of like it there. I see enough teams there that could want a running back.
Yeah, Miami too, I think, is one of those.
Yeah,
teams
that's
where
the
they had
34
2
through
first-round
36
picks. They built up
Falcons.
the line last year. They could say, hey, this is a nice luxury pick. Now, Graham, Javonte Williams, what kind of player is he? Where would he fit?
So as we were talking, I just was looking through FanDuel. That's Javonte Williams under 41.5 got hammered down to -170. And I think Tom.
Oh, shit.
Tom
I moved the line.
market.
Yeah.
Tom moved
it
the
got
line.
hammered down to -170. Which
I
honestly
literally just went through all the props, because I was doing the
Yeah.
market report with Joe all day, and just like 5:30 there, and it was -138. So they must have gotten some late action here.
Yeah, man, that should be at least -250. But yeah, Javonte Williams, he smashed yards created, leads this class in yards created per attempt, leads in missed tackles forced by a mile. I always say pass protection really doesn't matter all that much in the NFL because you just don't really do it that often, especially when you're a good receiver. But if you're looking for a good pass protector, Javonte Williams is easily the best in the class too.
It's not a negative.
Oh God, no, it's not. No. But I'm just, it's one of those things where most college backs suck at it coming in, and it's pretty rare for a guy like Williams to be able to have not only the technique but the anticipation to pick up blitzers and stuff like he can. But Falcons at 35, fingers crossed, boys.
But by the way, I'm also looking at the numbers here. Running back is such a volatile position in the draft because I think so many teams look for something different. So last year, you'll see Edwards-Helaire go before Jonathan Taylor, or, you'll have, maybe a team had J.K. Dobbins rated higher than Edwards-Helaire or something like that. This is incredible. Javonte Williams, I'm looking at Bovada right now, is -1,600 to be the next running back taken. And maybe if you really like Trey Sermon, maybe that's he's plus 1,500. But
that's Trevor Lawrence respect at the number 1 overall pick right there.
That's seriously up. Wes, Javonte Williams, what did the tape tell you about him?
Well, first of all, if I really like Trey Sermon, you should know better than that.
Yeah, I know you really like Trey Sermon.
Yeah, and there is no cliff, Tom.
hey, Sermon is. I was kind of looking at those numbers. He was plus 1,200 to be the next back drafted. Maybe somebody's
1,500 I'm showing right.
Yeah, there's
no, I think it's Javonte. Don't be shocked when Trey Sermon is the next guy off the board.
He will be.
Well, dude, I was in the Steelers take a tackle Sermon camp last night, but obviously they did not do that. They're going the opposite, taking Najee in the tackle here in the second round. So
no, but
I was with you there, Wes.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah.
And I know Grant, he's on board as well, and Scott, he thinks he's running from Oklahoma. I'm just kidding, Scott, just being dramatic. But Javonte, man, he's good. He's Pookie, so linebacker mentality. He dives right into the contact, and he's a gap scheme guy. And he's right there with Trey Sermon as the best gap scheme guys in this class. And they're both bruisers. The feet, I love the feet on both of them. I love the hands, just the untapped potential, receiving potential. Just to kind of bring up the pass protection. It's not so much that they're not going to do it often, but let's look at the scenario where you have a running back, he can't catch the ball and he can't block. If he's in the game, we know what's going to happen. He's either going to just run a route that everyone knows he's not going to catch, or they're going to hand off to him. But if that running back is able to actually catch the ball and he's able to actually pass protect, then you have to respect him as another weapon. And it just adds another layer, another dynamic to the offense. It's subtle, I agree, but it's those subtle differences that can make a huge difference in the outcome of the game. And Javonte, he's developed that throughout his career. It's not quite at the level of a Trey Sermon, or Etienne, but yeah, I mean, everyone loves Javonte. I don't think you can watch the tape and just not be enamored by the kid.
So let's switch gears a little bit here. And Tom, another one of your best bets is the Lions minus 134 to select a wide receiver. Now, I think a lot of people in Detroit, the Lions fans, were hoping for like a Devontae Smith. They instead go with Sewell. You know, that's a team that needs everything, so you can't really knock it. But then that brings me into something where I want to talk to Scott, because I'm now looking at Elijah Moore to be minus 300 to be the next wide receiver taken. I gave a hot take on a podcast I was on last week, and I said I thought Elijah Moore was getting drafted in the top 20. I'm a little surprised he fell out of the first round. But I can already tell you, it doesn't matter what team drafts him. Scott's going to name him the steal of the NFL draft. So talk to me about Elijah Moore. Who are some of the good spots here, Scott, that you're eyeing up?
Yeah, it was a little disappointing based on draft capital. You know, you were hoping for round one. I thought he would go round one. Wes and I are, you know, higher on him than just about anyone else in the industry. We both have him inside of our top four. So, you know, round one was a disappointment, but it was nice to see Rashad Bateman jump on a live grenade for him and wind up in a very unideal scenario. So where does he go next? I think Jacksonville would be in play unless, except for the fact that they kind of tipped their hand. Dane Brugler on our podcast told me, look out for Elijah with their second pick. The Jets, I think that's still a real possibility. They have J-Mo Crowder in the slot, but I mean, you know, Elijah, I think, is head and shoulders above Jamison Crowder as a player. And, you know, he was a key part of the prior regime. Atlanta's in play. Philadelphia, probably not.
I wouldn't be shocked. The Eagles could do anything. Detroit's definitely in play, though, Scott, I think.
So I was going to say, like, the dream landing spot would be Detroit. But, I mean, they're 9 picks down. So, you know, you could also see a team trade up for Elijah. Brett was saying late last night, don't be shocked if New England comes up for him.
Interesting.
And I mean, you know, Bill Belichick doesn't have the best record with wide receivers, but I mean, I could see a smart team making all of these other teams pay for passing on him.
Yeah.
I think his sweet spot for Elijah is 39 to 41. I think between Carolina and Detroit, that's the two spots I think it's most likely to happen.
I was just eyeing up.
Yeah. Sorry, Greg.
I was just eyeing up the Panthers too, Wes. Like, you know, they just lost Curtis Samuel. I think we talked about this last night, but you know, they lost Curtis Samuel as the underneath guy. He would fit right in. And they're obviously trying to build around Darnold. They just gave him
which I loved. I mean, you know,
why not give it a try?
Yeah. I think it was a very good point made by who's the ESPN guy, the one that's been there forever.
Mel Kiper.
Mel Kiper, excuse me. I thought he made some good points because, you know, it just doesn't really matter what Zach Wilson does because, you know, they didn't give Darnold a shot. They didn't give him his fair shot. With a decent offense, you know, so I'm happy for him. And then, you know, talking about Sewell going to Detroit, I think that was a great pick because, yeah, I mean, they're in the can this year. They suck, but they're gonna present something to their quarterback next year that you don't usually see with the number 1, number 2 pick, and that's a really good offensive line.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe Elijah Moore goes there. And like, Scott, here's the thing. You're right. Like we're not enamored with Jared Goff or anything. You know, obviously the Rams aren't either, but it's not like he's like a terrible quarterback. I mean, he's just boring. And we've seen him produce numbers with Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp. And if Elijah Moore goes there, he could be a target hound there, which would be far better than him landing with a better team in Baltimore that throws the ball 4 times a game.
Yeah, we were drooling over Tennessee, plenty of vacated targets. We were drooling over Green Bay, but I mean, Detroit's going to finish dead last this year, so you have to imagine they're going to be forced to lean pass heavy as much as those coaches might want to foolishly run the ball. And, you know, they have no receivers now. He's immediately the alpha. And, yeah, I mean, just – an immediate producer. And that's what every talent evaluator is saying is he's going to be an immediate producer. I see that. And for fantasy, I see massive PPR upside. He averaged 10.8 catches per game last year. So PPR cheat code, especially in that offense. So fingers crossed that happens and it's not, somewhere super gross, which it could be.
Yeah, and I mean, it could be New England trading up, by the way. Keep in mind, all the speculation the last couple days had been, is New England going to go up into the top 10 to get a quarterback? Is New England going to go up to go get Mac Jones or Justin Fields? They didn't have to trade that pick. They did not have to trade it all. So the one thing I will say about New England, though, keep in mind, they don't have a third-round pick because of Spygate 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and they notoriously, they like to trade back. They don't like to make too many moves up. They let the draft come to them. But yeah. I mean, Detroit would be a phenomenal location. You're completely right. Brashad Perriman, Tyrell Williams are like the lead receivers at this point. It could be a sneaky, decent offense. They're bringing soul in there. The offensive line is getting much stronger. I'm feeling a little bit better about DeAndre Swift, even with Jamal Williams there. So. There's a chance if he lands there, he could easily lead that team in targets, and he's going to be the wide receiver 4 if he would land in that Lions spot.
Yeah.
Don't forget Cephas.
Oh yeah, Cephas.
That's right.
A Scott's guy.
Okay. So let's now talk some of the other I guess receivers, and let's use this to parlay because we have a question on our Rich S is asking any thoughts about St. Brown to the Packers at 62. Right now, I mean, the Packers are driving me nuts because when it comes to fantasy, I want certainty, and I'm going to start drafting best ball on Sunday, and right now we have a team in the Packers who have 2 first-round picks for fantasy, and I don't know who their quarterback's going to be. I can't imagine it. Well, Ian Rappaport put something out today, guys, where he said Rodgers needs this situation repaired to his liking.
At least he gave a hint, though, that there is a chance.
Yeah. Which I actually, Wes, I agreed with you. I saw that and I'm like, okay, it's over. And yesterday it was, it's over. That was the talk. And there was that. And I mean, you got to pay him big time. I think Aaron Rodgers would like to see Jordan Love shoved into a sarcophagus. I think that's probably what he would like at this point. But I think you guys probably know defensive players a little bit better than I do. I thought based on Cosell's evaluation, what I've been seeing, I thought they reached for Burns at 30, the corner from Georgia.
He's so fast, man.
That mouth-watering athleticism.
But his technique is a little wonky.
Yeah.
They obviously see a player that they can coach, though. I think.
Yeah.
If you're going to take him in that spot, we don't see. There's such a disparity in talent in the NFL at cornerback that you can have flaws and still be a great corner. Compared to, the other corners in the league. Mm-hmm. And because, if even if it's say you're on a team and you do have some deficiencies, if you're good enough, you're fast enough, you're athletic enough to make a play, a quarterback's not going to target you as much because he can pick on other guys. So it makes your numbers look so much better.
Wes, what do you think of him? How do you think he plays along with Alexander? Because I think Alexander's on that precipice of becoming a shutdown corner. Well, he might already be.
Yeah, no, Alexander's one of the top 4 cornerbacks in the league, 5 maybe. But man, I think it adds a nice layer. But because they play mostly zone, mostly cover 4, and so we'll see.
What did Stokes predominantly play at Georgia?
I believe they played cover 3. I believe I'd have to look that up. I believe they're mostly zone.
Yeah.
So anyway, I want to parlay this into Rich's question though. What about Amon-Ra St. Brown at 62? Wes, this is your territory because you love Amon-Ra St. Brown. He says, is that too early?
No.
Amon-Ra St. Brown could go in the 30s right now, and I would not think it's too early for him.
Well, look at the names at wide receiver that are still out there.
First and foremost, just look at the name. Amon-Ra St. Brown is an elite name.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But anyway, wax poetic.
Like there's several guys that are still on the board. Obviously Elijah Moore, but like De'Ami Brown, Rondell Moore, and then of course we don't really know the deal with Terrace Marshall just yet. But and then Amon Ross St. Brown. I mean, the names here, and then Tylan Wallace. These are guys that are borderline first rounders. That if you go back to before Wallace tore his ACL, everyone thought he was going to be a first rounder. And so, I mean, these are all guys that there's no question every single one of them could go in the second round, and they're going to be great values. Just maybe not Marshall because of his injury concern, but I love St. Brown. He's got some of the best footwork in the entire class. I love him in the slot. He can play outside. He's versatile, but you're going to end up with him in the slot. And but Scott likes him too. So
not really, honestly.
I thought you did.
My pre-combine model
I'll be back.
Was sort of divided on him. I mean, he did put up very similar production to Michael Pittman at USC at a younger age, which you like to see, but it wasn't anywhere near on the level of the top 7 wide receivers I had in this class. And then the athleticism, he was solid everywhere except the 40, where he was especially underwhelming given his light weight. Everyone expected him to be a lot heavier. So by my ranks, he's low, but where do I like him? I like him because Wes loves him. Greg Cosell loves him. Yeah. Danny Kelly loves him. So all the smart people I talked to who spent a lot of time watching film, Brett Whitefield as well, really loved him. So I mean, my ranks are 95% a function of that first pre-combine model and then a slight adjustment based on athleticism. I stuck to that, but yeah, the people, the film watchers I respect love him. So
yeah, I think he was a tape watcher's wide receiver, and I think Tylan Wallace was a tape watcher's wide receiver too. I thought it was funny though, Wes, that Cosell comped him to another USC wide receiver. And Scott, you said St. Brown had good athleticism anywhere but the 40. Well, it's funny that Cosell comped him to a USC wide receiver who did not have good athleticism when he came out in Robert Woods. Like, he thought he won in similar ways as Robert Woods, and I thought that was a pretty fascinating comp.
Well, and then he also say Keenan Allen? And
yes,
that's
who
another
also
guy.
had subpar athleticism.
When I went back and I was reading some of the draft reports on Keenan Allen, and they were like, oh, this guy, he's got everything you want, route running, the feet, the shiftiness, but he just doesn't have the vertical speed to win at the NFL level. And I mean, it's something that you see a lot, because it's so hard to project guys that don't have that top end speed. But it's like Scott says about when in his athleticism, kind of is it overrated? Is you just keep weeding out guys to the point where you end up with some guys that they aren't top athletes, but they're the really good football players. But the thing is with St. Brown is, he doesn't have the vertical speed, but man, he's got everything else. Yeah. And he breaks. He's not somebody that he doesn't. I can't tell you how many he caught, but he caught like 5 go routes or something his entire career at USC, and that's because he uses his routes to do his work. He uses his breaks where he's got that functional strength to turn, whereas the cornerback just cannot make a turn that quick. Yeah. And he's already off into his route. And he separation instant. And it just gives his quarterback a target. I love St. Brown. I am so excited about him. I have him in like every Devy league that I'm in. So I'm just all in on the guy.
He feels like somebody Aaron Rodgers to bring Rich's point full circle would love though. Yeah. Like somebody who's going to come into the league and already know how to set up corners. I think that's probably like a pick that they would love. And, right now I'm looking at odds here, Tom.
I was going to say what are you seeing there?
Plus 1,100. So
yeah, his draft position, I think it opened up in that mid 60s range, right around where the Packers were. And I haven't seen anything today. They must have taken some of those guys down the secondary receivers, but his number was drifting up. It was It was, I believe, up to like 78.5, 79.5 before it got taken down, over the last couple of days.
Yeah.
So
what are the
his
numbers on
stock
Diami Brown?
Brown is plus 950.
He's a guy that was moving up.
By the
I think,
numbers.
I think St. Brown's problem was kind of what you guys were all hitting on there, that he doesn't necessarily excel in one area. He just does everything pretty well. And these talent evaluators, they want to lean on something, and I think that's kind of been the one knock on him, and that's why his number has fallen 10 to 15 spots.
Well, if you look at the entire USC, the roster of USC receivers, it's one of the most talented group of receivers in college football. Their numbers fell across the board. It's the offense that they're playing in. Graham Harrell has been the offensive coordinator 2 years. It's his first 2 years as an offensive coordinator, and it's some of the most wasted talent in all of college football. The way he distributes his targets, he's using a 6'5" guy in the slot and he's using Amon-Ra St. Brown outside. It makes no sense the way he has his alignments. I'm not saying he's not going to be able to turn things around. He's got that air raid background as a former quarterback, but there's something to it, and even with a really good quarterbacking, Caden Slovis that has NFL potential, that he's holding back that offense right now.
Isn't Keaton Slovis a Tyler Childers song, Brolley? What's that song?
Oh,
Banded Clovis. Anyway, Wes, according to the numbers, and like this is strictly who's going to be the next wide receiver taken, but according to the betting markets, if you were to rank these, the order is Elijah Moore, Terrace Marshall, who apparently has medicals.
Yeah.
So
foot and knee injuries.
Yeah. So that's interesting, because I actually mocked him to the Ravens in the first round of our staff mock draft before I heard about the medicals.
And they did too. I think the Ravens were on him until because they're still getting medical reports today. Like they still don't have all the medical reports on guys, and they're still getting them. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, Marshall was I got him at over 37.5 like 4 or 5 days ago, and he's shot up to like over 55.5.
Yeah, I was gonna say I saw his numbers like 51 or 55.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's right there at the back half of that.
I mean, keep in mind now, no two medical reports are the same.
Yeah.
But keep in mind that DK Metcalf slipped to pick 62 because of medicals.
Well, his neck, he had a neck injury. They said he was done. His career was over. Yeah. And that's when Elijah Moore got his first start, actually.
Oh, by the way, Wes, I loved your constant references to the piss six. Because I had totally forgotten that was Elijah Moore.
Yeah.
Who did that.
Well, it wasn't. Okay, so he's the one that's getting the knock. DK did it the year before, didn't get flagged.
Yeah.
And then Odell Beckham did it 2 months before that, didn't get flagged. So Elijah, he
picked the wrong time to do it.
Yeah. Anyway, it goes Elijah Moore, Terrace Marshall at plus 500. So Moore is a heavy favorite. Rondale Moore at plus 850. There's a fascinating player.
Yeah.
Then Diami Brown at plus 950, and then St. Brown at plus 1100. So if that betting market could be analyzed as this is the order they're expected to go in, that would be the round. But those guys there, I don't know about Marshall only because of the medicals. Yeah. But I would expect all those guys to be second round picks tonight. I think they'll all go tonight. I think I would say they're all second round picks.
Who's next on the list? Just curious.
The next on the list is a three-way tie between Cornell Powell, Tylan Wallace, and Powell. Dwayne Eskridge.
I like those, man. I'm surprised that Anthony Schwartz isn't in that.
Well, yeah, I saw Rap Sheet mention him.
Yeah, he did.
As somebody who's gonna, because he's got that one thing that you can't teach, and he can fucking fly.
Oh my goodness!
And and speaking of that drives me nuts. Bo Nix is the college quarterback that the media would have you believe is good, and he just absolutely sucks. Everybody, the way people talk about Bo Nix, like, oh, Bo Nix, he won a big game in his first game. His dad used to play there, and
oh my gosh, please, that just. I don't even have him ranked in my Devy rankings.
Oh, yeah.
And I've ranked a lot of guys.
And like that's the funny part is like because I read Cosell's like Schwartz is going to get knocked because he played in a bad offense with a bad quarterback.
You want to comp? You want to comp for Bo Nix? Shea Patterson.
Oh God,
That's Bo Nix.
You know, and it's funny that you mentioned that too because everybody talked about Shea Patterson like he was fucking John Elway too.
Well, you know, when they're coming out of high school, it's hard because, you know, a lot of these guys come from smaller schools where there's, you know, they're not playing that great a competition. So you see guys like, you know, what's his name? Christian Hackenberg. Yeah, as a 4-star, the next thing, because, you know, he played against a bunch of scrubs, but he can't throw the ball to the slot without overthrowing his guy by 3 yards, you know. And you know, and that's the same with Patterson. Just played. I mean, he had some decent competition, but you know, the good thing about it is we have 4 years of college to look at these guys. And no, Shea Patterson sucks. Bo Nix sucks.
Yeah, he's so bad. And like, I will say, Cosell also like I've been reading his reports for a while. He hates Gus Malzahn's offense.
I was just about to say Malzahn's offense hasn't evolved in 10 years. So
well, he's not there anymore, so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. By the way, we have a question from YouTube. Where did we guys rank Kadarius Toney for Dynasty? Because I know the Giants were in on Devontae Smith. Scott, you're a Giants guy.
He's not a Toney guy, though.
Where does Kadarius Toney rank for Dynasty for you? I think we put him in the 40s of our Dynasty rankings, and I can't really knock that right now because I'm still not. I feel like Danny Dimes is a little mid, to borrow a term from the kids. Scott, where do you have Kadarius Toney right now?
Yeah, so ADP consensus wide receiver 10. Dynasty community really hates him because of the lack of the breakout age and things like that. I had him wide receiver 8 in my ranks, really good athleticism. You know, if he was a JUCO transfer, let's say where I only focused on last year, he could have been a top 5 prospect for me. Yeah, so wide receiver 8, a big reason for that was the projected draft capital, which we saw. I watched the post-draft presser with Joe Judge and Dave Gettleman. You really see the Belichick influence there where Judge didn't give us anything. And then Gettleman was typical Gettleman, where he's a very likable, like an infectious personality.
Oh yeah, you listen to him talk, and you're like, I really would want to play in this guy's organization.
He just is like a charismatic, like a Boston Robert De Niro, but he's extremely unprofessional. He forgot the details of the trade with Chicago. He kept had this nervous tick where he kept banging on the table, and the mic picked it up, and you couldn't hear anything he was saying. And he bullied the reporters. Every reporter came off as incredibly cowardly. Where they're like, 2 questions, but they're really quick. I'm sorry, 2 questions, really quick, I promise. And then this other, was this a tough call for you? Was there a tear here, or he was the next guy in the pick? Okay, thank you. And it's I wonder how much of that is preconditioning, where he just bullies these guys. But anyway, they didn't give us anything of substance. They did sort of hint that he is a little bit of a developmental prospect where we shouldn't count on a lot year 1, but the upside is sky high, which is what Brett was talking about last night. You know, he was a quarterback all throughout high school. His first year as a starter was last year, and he was lights out. And there was a big difference in his play from week 1 to week 6. It's just tough. I mean, the landing spot's not great. The prospect has a lot of red flags. But yeah, I mean, probably around wide receiver 7, wide receiver 8.
Among the rookies.
Among the rookies in this class, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Elijah Moore, depending on landing spot, you could have him far above Kadarius Toney, despite the draft capital. Now, Wes, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he do a ton of his damage, if not all of it, from the slot this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to play in this slot, and he did a ton of his work additionally in the flats.
Yeah. So
R.I.P. Sterling Shepard.
Yeah, they just freed Sterling Shepard because Golden Tate's gone. And then they drafted another slot receiver.
My biggest thing is from a positional value standpoint, right? They just paid Kenny Golladay all this money. You know, Evan Ingram finally came along a little bit, late in the year. They used him more in the slot. like, why, I loved the trade back. Like Gettleman finally did it. Like he finally broke free and traded back
next year. And
that was it was an awesome pick. Yeah, he got it. Yeah. I mean, he picked up a 2022 one, got a couple picks this year for it too. But like, you do all that and then you kind of negate it by taking Tony maybe 5 or 6 spots ahead of where he should have gone. I wonder if the Giants like knew the Saints were in on him or the Packers were in on him and they didn't want to chance to let him slide. But I just struggled with that pick.
They didn't have that type of receiver on their roster, so their offensive line is just it's trash right now. And all they have vertical receivers. They don't have yards after the catch guys that Jones can just throw to the flat and then they can just create their own offense. They don't have those guys, so they had to do something to pull the attention away, to prevent Jones from having to, target his fast guys downfield. And that's something that Shepard can't do. He's not a throw the ball to the flat and, watch him go type guy. That's what
Saquon is though.
Tony. Yeah, no. But that's the thing, by having Saquon and Tony, it gives another dimension to their offense that they didn't have. I think it was a very smart move. I know Scott doesn't love it, and I feel sorry for him because it must suck to be a Giants fan and as bad as they've been recently. And I used to be there with the Dolphins until they finally got a new coaching staff that I absolutely love right now.
Wes, I should have noticed by the Gators jacket that you'd be simping for Kadarius Toney today.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm not an LSU fan. I'm not a Florida fan. I did grow up in Florida, but I wear all kinds of gear.
Yeah. Oh, I figured. We got. By the way, on Elijah Moore, we have Mike Triplett, who obviously has covered the Saints for a long time. Scott, we just got this dropped in Discord by Font. Mike, and I think he's just merely suggesting this. I don't think he's reporting it, but he suggested the Saints as a trade up spot for Elijah Moore.
Ooh, that would be a good one. Didn't we talk about that last night?
I think we talked about it a few weeks ago.
Maybe the Saints.
No. Last night we talked about it last night, and I can't remember if it was me or Brett that said, what about the Saints? What if the Saints end up getting more?
They'd have to come up super far because they're at 60.
So but that's what the Saints do. They traded their entire draft for Adam Troutman last year.
Yeah.
Wait, Scott. Scott, say his name the right way.
Trout God.
Thank you.
Oh.
Your
guys are in on Troutman this year.
Yeah, I am too.
I like Troutman too.
Okay. So let's. I want to get Tom Brolley involved here. T-Bro.
Yes.
The running backs on the list here. Actually, let's ask this question first because we got Rich in the chat asking about how disappointing, essentially, is the ETN landing spot for Dynasty.
I mean, it's going to be interesting. We'll see how the rest of the class kind of shakes out here. But, I imagine he's going to be behind Javonte Williams, depending on, as long as he doesn't land in a disastrous spot.
Williams lands with like the Jets, Atlanta.
Any of those teams that we talked about, in the first 10 picks, Miami would be a great spot. So, he's going to be fascinating because, I could even see Carlos Hyde being a little bit involved next year with Urban Meyer, and Darrell Bevel. Like, I'm really concerned that this could be a 3-back kind of rotation here next year.
So I watch a lot of Ohio. I watch every Ohio State game, and I've rewatched every Ohio State game going back to the last year that Urban was there. And I paid particular attention to that because I was kind of looking at what type of offense did he run. Of course, he had Ryan Day as his offensive coordinator, but I wanted to see what type of offense he was running just to kind of know what we could expect with the Jaguars. And look, he is not stupid. If Carlos Hyde is the only healthy running back, sure, he's going to get the ball. This is going to be a James Robinson and Travis Etienne 1-2 punch with a touch of Carlos Hyde just to keep the other two fresh. He's not going to run James Robinson into the ground. I think that's very smart. That was stupid what they did to James Robinson last year. I don't care how good he is. Well, look what happened to him at the end of the year. He couldn't even play.
It's funny, Wes, that you said this was stupid. I told John Hansen mocked ETN to the Jaguars in our staff mock, and I almost was like, John, there's no fucking way.
Like, I had the same reaction.
Yeah. Even if they were at 33 too, just the fact that even going with 25, you can get a little bit better. There's more guys available at 25. Yeah, I thought the same thing, and then boom, Etienne goes to the Jaguars. John was celebrating on our text thread last night.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of,
don't be surprised if McCaffrey, if the Panthers end up adding another running back to pair with McCaffrey. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised.
I know, Wes, you're a little higher on Darnold than I am, but going back to the quarterback position, is Denver yet another team that's going to try to talk its fan base into Teddy Bridgewater? I mean,
I don't think any of us can really give answers for Denver, because they've just been. Are they not the worst? What did you say about them last night, Graham? The worst QB.
They have no clue how to evaluate quarterbacks.
Exactly.
No clue.
Couldn't say it any better. That's your answer.
Who do you guys think starts day one, week one?
Teddy.
You think it's going to be Teddy?
That's what they're. Joe said it. They're trying to talk everyone into thinking that Teddy is the guy.
Here's the dumbest thing about the whole Broncos passing up fields at 9, right? This team, their offensive line is slightly above average. They have maybe top 5, top 6 weapons cumulatively. Their defense is fantastic. Great front seven, great secondary. Kyle Fuller has been one of the most underrated corners in the league. This team, I mean, shit, Drew Lock could start, and this team could go, I don't know, whatever, 7-10 this year. They're not going to be remotely close to drafting one of the top quarterbacks next year or 2023, just based on the way they built the rest of this roster. They would never have a chance to get a transcendent talent like Fields anytime soon, unless they make a big trade. And them mortgaging their future on the triumvirate of freaking Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock is just, it's one of those things where it like negates all their positive moves.
Now, I will say Teddy Bridgewater, he's a good QB2. He is.
Right. Yeah.
He's a great guy to have on your roster. Maybe he'll have a positive effect on Drew Lock, but I'm sorry, Drew Lock he's shown us his entire college career and now several seasons in the NFL that he just can't play against all coverage types. He's a cover 3 guy only.
Teddy Bridgewater is the quintessential guy that, like, if your starter gets hurt and you need him to start 4 or 5 games, just like what we saw with the Saints that got him paid with the Panthers, he can come in and be fine for 4 or 5 games, but you do not ever want never want him to have him go into your season as your starter.
He's not going to sell tickets for you.
That's for sure.
He is like the quintessential. He might be one of the 32 best quarterbacks in the league,
but he's like 26.
But he's not a starter.
He's competitive. Yeah, I was just doing a little bit of legwork for like team previews and stuff for the summer, and they're 0-8 in 1-score games last year. 8 different chances. He had the ball in his hands on the final drive of the game within a 1-score game and never led him to a victory in those 8 chances. So,
how many of those did he have?
I mean, he was good enough to keep him close and competitive in the game, but couldn't punch one in on one of those final drives there.
I mean, it was just
that was the biggest shock of the first round, that Denver passed on a quarterback.
Well, you know what's funny about that, Wes, though, is like, first and foremost, I think J.C. Horn was a shock too. Like going before Surtain.
Joe, he started getting some buzz.
Yeah,
there. He started getting some buzz.
I don't know if it was a shock.
Yeah.
But I tell you who was pissed off was Dallas.
They see 2 quarterbacks go off right in front of them.
So Dallas gets pissed. I mean, it changed the entire first round.
I mean, they reacted perfectly, though. I mean, they knew the Eagles wanted a receiver, and they were able to move back and still get their fallback plan. They played it perfect for getting the rug pulled out from under them.
I think I think in an ideal world, Tom, they would have been able to stay there and take Surtain or Horn.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. They reacted properly, though. Whenever they
got the Eagles to give the pick, and I don't think Eagles fans are upset with that trade. The people who I think are Giants fans, but it was just kind of interesting. Those 2 picks there were the picks that really Yeah, you're right. With the Surtain was the pick that really changed a whole lot of things in that first round.
Well, speaking of first round cornerbacks, there's still one on the board, and I would say is going to be one of the top 3 picks coming up, and I'd like to see him go with the first, and that's Asante Samuel Jr.
Deuce Jr. Yeah, I think the Jaguars are favored to take a corner.
Heavy favorites to take corner.
Yeah, that would be stupid if they passed up on this guy. This kid, he started 3 full years at Florida State. Was, I mean, as consistent as it gets. Maybe he's a little bit smaller than, you want your guys, your first rounders to be 6 foot, and that's probably why he dropped. But I love this kid. I do. He's just as talented. Well, I'm not going to put him up there with the other guys, but he's a first round talent, is what I should say.
Yeah, I wanted to look at Cosell's scouting report of him, because I think that was the thing he mentioned, and that's not like breaking ground to say that like the one concern is his size. I mean, I think that's what
I was looking at Cosell's profiles this morning, just going through props, and that's exactly what he said. He was questioning, like in his transition part, he was questioning whether or not Samuel can be an outside guy, or is he strictly in the slot. And I think he kind of came around to that he might just be slot long term, but I mean, he's freaky athletic. So
but he also mentioned in here that in college he absolutely showed outside man coverage traits. The only question is, will that be a problem against bigger NFL receivers?
Well, the Jaguars, they won the lottery on one guy last year, and that was Sidney Jones, who was a first round guy when he was coming out of Washington, but tore up his knee. And
it was his Achilles, actually, because the Eagles took him. So
that's right, Achilles, and then he ended up missing his entire first. That's right, I should ask you about him.
Yeah, well,
he was great before he got hurt last year. He was their best cover guy.
The Eagles haven't developed a fucking cornerback since Lito Shepherd and Sheldon Brown. So you
know. But with Henderson and Jones, the ability to play them outside, adding Samuel to play in the slot. I mean, you need 3 cornerbacks in this league. There's everyone's playing.
That's base defense
spread.
now.
Yeah,
like that is base defense, right?
Yeah,
4-2-5 is base defense.
Yep.
And some teams play dime as base.
You have to with the wide receivers that are coming up, man.
Who's interesting from a defensive spot is this Owusu Koromoa, who is like a big safety.
Yep.
Yeah, he's fascinating.
I'm surprised he didn't go in the first as well.
Yeah, I wonder if it was just like the teams thought he was maybe a little bit too much of a tweener.
Yeah,
but I mean,
but safety. It's Trevor Morg is another guy that I was a little surprised. Didn't go in the first.
Man, there are so many good players available here if you need defensive help.
I mean, no safeties went in the first. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Wes, do you think Morg is a good fit with the Falcons?
Yeah. Are you serious? Okay. I mean, you could name 10 guys that are a good fit with the Falcons.
I'm asking for my wallet's purposes.
Yeah, everybody's like, it's like the Lions too.
The only thing I would say against that is if Javante's there, do they bite? And that would be my big concern. But they have nothing at safety. They just let Keanu Neal just walk out the door, which was.
Yeah, he was like their only good, literally their only good player left.
So I'm gonna be maybe you guys will argue with me. I think all the quarterbacks left stink.
Yeah, you don't have it. There's no day one ready quarterback left on the board.
Well, which I mean,
Mond is
the guy who, if like you had to tell me one of these guys would become a decent starter, it would probably be Kellen Mond.
I love Kellen Mond. I do. I love Kellen Mond. He's not going to come in and he could start next year, but he's
like Dak Prescott did, where Dak Prescott was a 4th round pick,
Yeah. But I just think he needs a little more.
Yeah, I know Cosell flat out, like the only time I read this in all of Cosell's profiles this year was he said Davis Mills made a mistake entering the draft.
Yes. 11 games.
Yeah.
11 games. That's all you're giving us. Goodness.
Yeah. That's almost like Miss Trubisky. He came out on 13 starts.
Cosell hated Trubisky when he came out.
Yeah.
But at least with Trubisky and with Trey Lance, at least they had some really good results.
Yeah.
Davis Mills didn't do anything, man. I mean,
right.
I found a few situations that he did well in, but man, I don't care what he was rated as coming out of high school. I don't care. He has no mobility. People say he's more athletic than you think. No, he's not. He's about as athletic as Mac Jones. Okay. Yeah. And I'm not knocking Mac, but he's nowhere near the quarterback, Mac Jones.
Yeah, Mac Jones is good.
Yeah, he's good at what he does.
Yeah.
But he's not mobile.
Wow. So Joe, you hate Justin Fields then?
No, I do not hate Justin.
You just said Mac Jones is good.
Oh my God, that's so nuts. And I know, like, people just get their panties in a wad because, all right, that was the sexist term. People get angry when you say, hey, Mac Jones might be a decent prospect, and he is a decent prospect only because people got all worked up about the 49ers trading up for Mac Jones and what that means, and they didn't even take Mac Jones.
Joe, you just saw what the NFL thinks of Mac Jones.
Yeah,
he slid all the way to 15. Nobody moved up.
Value,
Denver traded for Teddy Bridgewater.
That's a great value,
Mac Jones.
Yeah. No, I like the pick for.
It's a great pick. Yeah, I'm not knocking the pick whatsoever. I'm just saying that's what the NFL thought of him. You know.
Oh, speaking of Mac Jones, oh my God. How did you? I sent you guys the Mac Jones Trevor Lawrence hair swap.
Oh God, yeah.
Mac Jones is a
that was a little freaky.
That was a little freaky, yeah.
He was a model. When
Wes, I'm popping it into Slack right now.
Trevor Lawrence does not look right with long hair. Sunshine should keep the long hair there.
Wes, I put it in the
by the way.
multimedia section.
Okay.
You hear what Wes said?
Sunshine.
Did you hear what Wes said? And Wes is so amazing with this. He knows like the most random tidbits about every single player. He said Mac Jones was a child model.
He was a model. Yeah.
Mac Jones was. I thought you were talking about Trevor.
No. I said
like a hand model.
Trevor looks like
respond to Sunshine. So he's not approving that nickname. He goes by T-Law or Trevor or.
I just love the Brolley chic that Mac Jones walks around with.
That is crazy. He looks like a girl.
Were those Mac Jones' sisters last night? Whew. They were babes.
Yeah, when they popped on the screen. Tom, when they popped on the screen, my eyes were glued there for 30 seconds.
There was a brunette and a blonde. I was like, whoa, I did not expect that.
Anyway, I live here in upstate South Carolina. We are getting a ton of Jaguars games here next year. I can tell you.
Oh boy!
I was like, I think that's why the Panthers were so heavily rumored to get Deshaun Watson, only because I think Tepper knows the marketing power of having a Clemson star. It's just Deshaun.
So you'll get Jaguars games over Titans games. What's
the guys we get here are the Falcons.
Atlanta, Carolina.
Yeah, you get Atlanta. You get Atlanta before you get Titans.
Atlanta, you know what? Atlanta's actually a fun local team because of Kyle Pitts now. Like,
yeah,
I'm okay with what Atlanta did. Just like Matt Ryan thinks he has a few good years left. Shit, let him go out there and try to score 60 points a game.
Yeah, now the Julio trade rumors don't make any sense either now.
No, they don't make sense to me now. But I mean, like,
if they traded back, I would buy it. Yeah.
Like, are you going to trade Julio when you're drafting a young quarter? At this point, like, what are you going to get for Julio is my question.
It's like when Kyle Pitts was like, the first 4 picks are going to be quarterbacks. I think there's a lot of shade being thrown out by Atlanta intentionally. And I think one of those, we're going to trade Julio Jones. We don't know who we're taking at number 4. I think Atlanta is they're buying into that, war room type persona. And that's what they were doing, making sure nobody tried to and then here's the thing, that I think they were considering trading out if they could get enough capital, but I love that pick, man. Kyle Pitts.
It's great. Cincinnati takes Jamar Chase, and Cincinnati's almost certain. I mean, what are the chances Cincinnati doesn't take an offensive lineman here?
I think they're minus 400. I was like,
oh, that's
it. I know I'm not going to bet on this, but on the off chance it's anything under minus 200, I'm going to bet it was like minus 400.
I mean, would it be considered malpractice at this point if they didn't?
Well, it played out perfectly for them. I mean, when we were talking last night, me, Scott, and Wes were, and they skipped over Sewell. I was like, damn, I thought we might see an offensive line run at the end of the first round. That didn't happen. Now you're sitting with like 4 or 5 guys that are all probably top 40 rated players. Honestly, it worked out perfectly for them.
Yeah,
they could go interior, they could go tackle here. I mean, they got options.
Yeah, I was having this discussion with one of my friends. It's the Steelers dilemma. Do you take the first running back and the 10th best tackle, or do you take the 5th best tackle with the 5th best running back? And the Bengals were kind of in the same boat. Yep. Do you take the best receiver and like the 6th best tackle?
They're just in a much better spot, and the board fell well for them too.
Yes.
Because now apparently Jenkins has medicals. Tevin Jenkins.
Yeah.
That guy's a goddamn lawnmower.
See, that's the kind of stuff we just don't know until it's too late.
Yeah.
Because I had him as my number 5 offensive lineman.
Tom,
did you like Darisaw?
I had the Jenkins prop. I had Elijah Moore. Those were the 2.
Did you have did you like Darisaw, Wes?
No, I liked Vera Tucker better than Darisaw. I didn't rank him that way, but I didn't go back and change my offensive line rankings in a while.
And the offensive line rankings are so. As a matter of fact, I love the offensive line discourse because like I just think it's a passion project. Watching and scouting offensive linemen. I love reading Cosell. And this is the funny part, Wes, because Cosell didn't think there was a meaningful difference between Sewell and Darisaw. Now I think he thought Sewell was a better prospect, but like I sure as hell don't think he thought there was a 16 pick difference between the two. But then I also, when I was texting Greg last night, I told him Darisaw had groin surgery, which I think probably played into a little bit of his slip.
Yeah. And the thing about it as well is you got to consider that Darisaw prior to 2020, he was nobody, right? Yeah. Then Sewell didn't even play last year. So, it's like he didn't, and we don't have a lot of snaps to really look at Sewell. So, I mean, I can understand that where Greg can go in and look at these guys and say, I'm not really that blown away by Sewell because, we didn't get to see that age 21 season, Yeah. Or that age 20 season. We only saw him as a teenager. That's all we saw from Sewell.
Joe, has Greg given you anything else in regards to, possible fits that he especially liked or his
I haven't done that. I only texted him once last night because like I was surprised how far Darisaw fell. And I was just struck when I watched that, how good a value the Vikings got for that pick.
Yeah.
So Greg was still up when you texted him?
With the Darisaw pick, but I was just like, very clearly, Wes, the Jets thought Vera Tucker was better than Darisaw too.
Yeah. I love that pick by the Jets.
The Jets are crushing right now.
Yeah. Now.
They are, we'll see what they do here at 36, or 34, but
it feels so weird admitting that, but yeah.
Yeah, that trade up for Vera Tucker was awesome.
It's I didn't know if they got I don't know if they got great value for it, but like for instance, I texted you guys today. If they draft Javonte Williams, I'm all in on Javonte Williams.
Oh yeah,
they drafted Mekhi Becton last year. They got Vera Tucker. Yeah. I'm in on that. You got Saleh, you got LaFleur running the Shanahan scheme.
And man, Vera Tucker can play guard, he can play tackle. It'll be interesting to see what they do with him. If
I were a Jets fan, I'd be pretty excited right now.
Yeah, rightfully so.
It is a little concerning though that LaFleur comes in and he's got like one of the bottom offensive lines in the league. Of course, we don't know what Vera Tucker is going to do. I'm pretty high on him, but the thing is they're gonna. Last year they ran a ton of ace or posse personnel, 11 personnel, and this year they're gonna switch to the ace personnel, the heavy, the 12, and it's how is that transition gonna go with this offensive line? It's a little concerning. I'm a little concerned there, and it may be at the expense of Zach's legs a couple of times, so that's a little concern. But
guys, I gotta head out. What are we doing here?
We're still talking.
Ben, can you give me some guidance? Okay.
Yep.
All right, and I'm heading to I'm gonna head to Discord as well, guys. But I had planned to leave at 7. That we got some signals crossed, but I'm out of here, guys. Enjoy the draft, and maybe I'll pop in a little bit later.
See you guys.
Right, Joe. See you, Tom.
Hey, Ben, I don't know if you're public right now. I don't know if the people at home can hear you, but did you get that audio fixed in case there's a bad pick?
Yes, audio is fixed for some shitty picks.
All right, awesome. I'm excited for that. Folks at home, you should be excited for that. The draft is officially underway, which means we're looking here at the Jacksonville Jaguars. They already tipped that pick. We basically know what that pick's going to be, but then the Jets are up. Could they take Javonte Williams? That would be pretty ideal.
Jags are going corner. They're going corner.
So is it Samuel?
It'll be Samuel or it'll be Campbell.
I thought this was already off the board. Hold on. Let me figure out who it was. Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, I thought I've seen Campbell and
and Campbell, I think it was.
Yeah. Campbell. Well, Urban said he had I'm not going to get the quote perfectly right, but he was like, it's a value thing. Like, okay, we got ETN where we got him, but we still have 33 and 45. We can go corner safety there. And yeah, I think everybody kind of quickly figured out they're going to go corner. I guess they could go Murray too. They're in the same position as the Falcons, but I think it'll be corner here. I got to say, all of my buddies in Jacksonville are fucking thrilled with the ETN pick, even though we're not. They love it.
Oh yeah. I think
offense is going to be it's going to be really fun. No doubt about that.
Yeah, there's always a concern when you go from having a bell cow to a committee because you're like, kills everybody's value. But in the long run, it keeps your guys on the field, and that's great. I can't imagine how much longer teams are going to use these bell cow.
Yeah.
I shouldn't use bell cow. What I really mean to say are where they drive the guy into the ground. Because it's great for fantasy, but it'll actually be better when we don't have any of these guys that are getting 90% of the carries, and we have committees everywhere. That way it'll just be just a better distribution of that type of play style.
Well, I was going back and forth with Sigmund Bloom, and Scott and I were talking a little bit ago in DMs, and we kind of all were just putting heads together. I think the ETN pick to me signaled that they're going to use Robinson as the inside runner,
mm-hmm.
and ETN will kind of be, I don't want to say the Alvin Kamara, but that if you want to talk about usage, that's the kind of way that they envision it is, you give him 10 to 12 carries, 5 to 6 targets, a ton of screens. ETN last year was second among all players, not just running backs, all players in screen targets. He had 32 last year, and he had 50 targets. So, 60% of his targets were off screens.
It's so weird to me because he had a consensus round 2 grade last year, and he said the only thing he needed to work on was as a pass catcher. And now he's just a scat back. That's how good he was as a pass catcher last year. And I don't know. I think there's more potential there. There's more upside, but yeah, that's the sentiment around the industry is it's going to be like a New Orleans Saints, Alvin Kamara, Latavius Murray situation, which is pretty gross. Wasn't ideal when I was making some Etienne picks in dynasty startups. But I mean,
well, that's what I was trying to say, Scott, is man, I struggled with ETN as an inside runner. He's not a loose-hipped kind of make you miss in a very, very small confined spaces, which is what the NFL is. The hash marks are tighter than the college game, so you have less wiggle room. And I just did not see ETN becoming, a true interior runner like Jonathan Taylor, like Najee Harris, frankly, even like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was really short, but he was compactly built. I don't know, man. ETN is going to be a lot of fun in this offense, but I struggle. At least, I guess we'll see, just how quickly he can transition and what kind of run game Urban Meyer is going to design. But I think that pick kind of showed you, the landing spot. At least they got an established inside runner who we know can be a beast through and after contact, and ETN is certainly a player that wins on speed.
James Robinson almost had 50 catches last year in 14 games. I mean,
that was
by necessity, though. Yeah, that might have been by necessity. Chris Thompson got hurt, they didn't have anything else.
So let me chime in on Etienne a little bit. So the majority of his work was on inside zone, and I'm not going to say I disagree with you about anything, but I will say that his vision is probably my favorite in the class. And he loves when he's attacking the inside zone. He loves like watching the edges, watching those outside linebackers, seeing what they do, and if they cheat to the inside, he'll jump it to the outside. He's really good at that. But another thing is, even if he's only used as the change of pace or third down running back, however you want to call it, one of his best runs during his career at Clemson was on quarterback draws or just on draw plays.
Yep.
And that would be the type of run that would be available to him as the third down running back. So that's ridiculous.
That's literally what I wrote in my article. So I put in a questions piece into all of my yards creator profiles, and I said Clemson's run game featured a lot of RPO, zone read options, and ISO draws that open up gaping holes and easy reads by design. Now, I'm not knocking Etienne's vision by any means, because I agree with you. When they ran some of their gap stuff, he was awesome. But I said Trevor Lawrence's ability to make snap decisions on those RPOs and Lawrence's speed to the boundary often froze linebackers, and it made Etienne's reads easy, which is now exactly the same shit they get to run back. So from a familiarity standpoint, I would imagine they're going to immediately install a lot of those ISO draws, delayed draws, the zone read stuff to the boundary. They could honestly kind of run a more pass heavy version of what the Ravens do in their run game. You kind of have Robinson as the Gus Edwards type, Dobbins, with just a lot more, passing to the running back. You get Lawrence in there running the zone read stuff. I mean, they're going to have at least on the ground, they'll have a true three-headed monster, because Lawrence is such an underrated runner, man. Like, he was so freaking good at Clemson at it. Dabo Sweeney's a genius, et cetera. But like, I still felt like Lawrence was underutilized as a runner. And, he had a couple red zone plays where, man, it was just easy reads for him, easy pickings. And I mean, he's 6'6", whatever, 225. I mean, he can take contact. So I think we're going to see it be pretty gross in the red zone, sort of a la the Buffalo Bills, sort of like the Ravens. And I just question what Etienne's ceiling is going to be because of that.
Yeah, there's no question that Etienne is well behind Najee Harris.
Oh, yeah. Well, where do you, I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but Scott and I were talking about this a little bit earlier too. You got McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara for sure, like locked in top 3 dynasty running backs. I think you could make a legitimate argument that Harris is on par to be in the top 5 already. He's going to play literally every single snap.
No question. I'd put him above Taylor.
Yep, me too.
And Dobbins, and I think they drafted him to be their bell cow until we see something different.
Yeah, well, we were going through our dynasty ranks for the site, and I said the same thing. I'd have him above Taylor just because we got questions about how much he's going to play on passing downs.
Yeah, and they're losing Phillip Rivers. Let's not. Yeah,
Wentz doesn't check down like Phillip Rivers does.
No. Rivers was a check down artist, and he was able to feed enough receiving volume to Taylor and to his other 2 guys. Well, who's the guy? The really fast, smaller guy.
Nyheim Hines.
Nyheim Hines, yeah. I mean, he fed enough volume to both of those guys to, for them to both have fantasy value. So we're not going to see that this year. Probably going to go to Himes, is what I'm thinking. I traded away Taylor in one league, just trying to get. I traded him to Brett actually to take advantage of where people are they're being ridiculous about this with Jonathan Taylor. He's not a first round running back.
Yeah, I think. I'm definitely with you on that. I think Taylor's in Dynasty has kind of reached a ceiling, and honestly in best ball too. I mean, he's going in the back half of the first round right now. Yeah. In PPR, I know Scott's on this too, but like guys like Austin Eckler, they have just the same amount of floor just because he's going to get so many targets. I mean, Austin Eckler last year scored more receiving fantasy points per game than Alvin Kamara. people, I mean, once Justin Herbert came in, man, like it was gangbusters for Eckler. I don't know if we'll see that again, but like, Taylor's passing down usage is super concerning. But the one thing he does have in his favor is I think the Colts are going to be top 3, top 4 in run rate, regardless of game script. They're going to be
with that defense, he's going to get volume. That's another team though that I'll throw out there for Javonte, and no one's going to love this. Ben will is the Eagles, and they've been talking about bringing somebody in to pair with Miles Sanders. Yeah. Don't be shocked that Javonte's there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
his money's not guaranteed.
Yeah, God, that would be so gross, Wes. That would kill Sanders and Williams.
By the way, voice of God here for the audience, bringing in Mr. Down with IDP now.
What's up,
Thank God
Justin?
I don't have to talk about defensive players. Now we have someone actually knowledgeable. I mean, Wes is here, but
yeah, we're getting Justin in here.
What's up, fellas?
Hey, Mr. Justin Varnes, how's it going, man?
Well, how about you guys?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good.
Hey, Justin, good to have you, buddy.
Yes, sir. Glad to be here.
How's the old ATL going, man?
I just got back into town, but it's going well. It's pollen season. You remember that?
Oh God.
Boy.
Oh. It's pollen season is allergy season. That's what it is.
It's the worst, man. It's the worst. How have you been?
Pretty good. We moved up to Denver, out of LA. I got to get out of there. It's good. Get some more space. It's really nice. I grew up in the mountains in North Carolina, so it's nice to be back in the mountains here.
Yeah.
But yeah, Denver's awesome. It's like the friendliest city I've ever been in.
I've played a couple of gigs there, and it was hard to leave. It really was. Even like flying into the airport, I was like, I could be here. Yeah.
Yeah, it is such a fun. I think we're gonna spend quite a bit of time here. It's such a fun city. By the way, what's the schedule like? Are things opening up in Atlanta? I saw they're talking about making the Braves Stadium back to full capacity. Are you getting some sort of like schedule back down?
Yeah, actually, things are starting to open back up. A little bit at a time. 40% capacity, then 60%. But yeah, you can get Braves tickets, and gigs are starting to come back, which is good, which is where I was this weekend, slowly but surely, enough to kind of let you see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for. I'm heading back to Atlanta. We got a long story. We got to get out of our apartment. There's a bunch of repairs to do. And so I'm going to go down to Jacksonville and stay with my wife's parents for a little bit, and then we'll go up to Atlanta. But yeah, definitely going to catch a Braves game for sure while we're in town.
Yeah,
especially man. Since it's reopening. I'll have to shoot you a text. We'll maybe we can get some lunch or something like that.
Yeah, please do. As a matter of fact, I just left Jacksonville, so I'm bouncing back and forth. So either in Jayville or Atlanta, either way, we should grab some lunch or grab a Braves game if you're here. I'd love to go.
Cool. Yeah, let's do it. All right, Jags pick is in. Justin, we were talking a little bit earlier. This has got to be a corner, right?
Man, they need it. They need it bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we were talking about
tipping picks. Where can I find it?
I've got my tweet deck up. Tyson Campbell. Scott,
that's the guy I was talking about before. Someone tweeted out Ian Rappaport and
Brugler
someone else said he's going to go very, very, very early wink, meaning like he basically tipped the pick. So that's who we should have known it was.
Yeah. Brugler had that in his mock. So Tyson Campbell goes 33 real quick. Justin,
I just don't love that pick. This guy is 185 pounds, 6'2".
Well, man, both of these Georgia corners just skyrocketed up the board between Stokes and Campbell. It's crazy.
185 pounds.
And I wasn't super nuts about Stokes either. They good technique and stuff, but how are they going to hold up against these bigger receivers on the outside? And you can't pigeonhole them as slot corners. You're going to run out of room there. And Stokes himself isn't necessarily a great slot corner either. So they had success in college, but man, that's a big jump to the NFL when these players are bigger and faster and stronger, and they keep coming at you.
Well, in regards to Campbell, the good news is the AFC South has some garbage receivers outside of AJ Brown.
Yeah.
They got it's AJ Brown, and that's about it. So 6 games out of the year, at least they'll get some easier competition for sure, or Campbell, I should say. But all right, so Goodell just announced it, or actually, I don't think it's Goodell tonight.
Kevin Hardy.
Yeah, Campbell's the pick. So. Jets are on the clock. Justin, I was slacking you earlier. I have a good amount of money that this is going to be Azeez Ojulari here. Hoping he gets announced as a linebacker like we saw Tryon do since he's an edge guy. But I think the Jets are in play for a lot of things here, honestly. Who's that, Scott?
Javonte Williams.
Yeah. I think they're in play for running back.
Or
they could double
line.
Yeah, they could double dip on offensive line here. Man, they could even go corner if they wanted. I mean, there's a lot of things in play here. They need some speed. You know, Saleh's going to want some juice on the outside, though. Oh man. If we get Javonte, though, that would be gangbusters for fantasy.
I think he outscores however many fantasy points Frank Gore averaged last year.
Just by a little. Just by a little. I'll be right back, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you get Zach Wilson, which is what you've needed for a long time. Highly competent passer. The receiving core, not super exciting. Denzel Mims didn't really impress, but I liked him coming out. Jamison Crowder,
I still like him.
He is what he is. No running back to speak of. And it's just like, okay, you know, a running back can help take some of the pressure off of Zach Wilson, but, you know, drafting an offensive line probably helps the offense more than drafting a running back early will.
Let me ask you this, though. I'll throw a curveball at you. The guy, they can get an offensive lineman and add a receiver, Pat Freiermuth, because they have nothing at tight end.
Yeah, I mean that's another play. I mean, does that make more sense than wide receiver?
Because see, I like Crowder and I like Mims, so I think the issue is protecting Wilson and I mean they could go the offensive line. There's a lot of guys that have slipped here. So
they have Corey Davis too, by the way. We should have mentioned him. So
yeah, Corey Davis. Yeah, forgot all about him.
They paid Keelan Cole a lot of money.
Oh, I hate that. I hate that signing.
We got a question from Chad Varnes. Where do you see Horn, Surtain, and Stokes for IDP purposes?
Well, let's talk this season or 2021 first. To me, Horn has the best upside in terms of IDP. They brought him in. They played, Carolina played about 80% zone last year, which I believe is a lot more zone than they wanted to play. They just didn't have the corners didn't necessarily play enough man to bring that back to, acceptable rates, if you will. Horn is going to get a lot of looks, and we like these cornerbacks, these rookie cornerbacks that will get picked on either because of their size or because of who they're playing across. Right. And so I see Horn in the best position. He's going to be on the field. We know that this is a young defense. They're trying to build a core. My issue with Surtain long term, Cosell thinks Surtain's the best, the most complete cornerback in the draft, and I tend to agree with him on that. I think it's a good landing spot for Surtain long term, but I don't know how many snaps he's going to get. They've got Kyle Fuller, they've got Bryce Callahan, they've got Ronald Darby, and of course they're going to use him. But I think long term he's a good pick. This year, I think he's going to struggle to play 1,000 snaps, whereas Horn is going to be plug and play. They're not going to spend that kind of draft capital without expecting that guy to start week one, and he's going to get picked on early and often, particularly in that division.
Yeah, so I don't play IDP at all.
Scott, no. It's Elijah Moore.
Oh
wow!
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, man, but it's Elijah Moore.
No, that's big. That's huge.
But my two guys, it's Zach Wilson throwing to Elijah Moore.
Damn!
Oh my God, I love it.
What that means though is that they're going to play him on the outside some. That's good for his value. That's really good for his value. They're going to move him around.
I think he's much better suited for the slot.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not saying he's going to be an outside receiver. I'm saying they're going to move him around, which just land a guy in the slot and it just becomes, he's one dimensional. I like when they move their guys around, and that's what you're going to see.
Yeah, man, it's such a good spot for him. Man, that's such a good spot for him. Vis-a-vis of the other New York team, the Giants, we're talking earlier about them getting Tony at 20. I would much rather have Elijah Moore at 34 than Kadarius Toney at 20. There's no doubt.
Yeah, I have Moore ranked ahead of Tony, but I had Tony as my wide receiver 5 as well, so it's a little bit higher than most other people.
Damn. So Elijah Moore, the Jets, great freaking pick. They go all offense. Wilson, Barrett, Tucker, and now Moore.
Yep. I mean, they're probably doing the best at so far. I mean, a lot of teams only have 1 pick, so we can't really compare, but
yeah.
Good pick.
Great pick. Let's see here. I just had this pulled up. Yeah, Jets still have 4 more. Or no, I got this wrong. Let's see here.
But when during last season, Moore wanted to really show that he could play outside. If you look at his career numbers, they're not as good outside. 4.26.
They were great. He just wasn't used there.
No, but during his senior or his junior season, he did play 16% of the snaps out there. Over his career, he only played 6%. But in 2020, he played 16, 4.96 yards per route run, 3.55 in the slot. He was just trying to show that he's not just a one-dimensional player. You can move him around. So that's my only point that I'm trying to make. Not that he's an outside receiver.
Sorry, Wes, but Atlanta's trading 35. The Broncos have apparently moved up.
Huh.
Yeah, we'll see what the compensation is.
Are they going after a quarterback?
Oh God.
For all of that from yesterday.
Oh God, man. What if they take like Trask here at 35? Jesus. What a disaster that would be. I don't know who they could be moving up here.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
let's see.
Unless they want Javonte.
So,
unless they want no way they're going up for a receiver.
So ostensibly the Falcons just moved back a couple spots to 40. The Broncos had 40, but I haven't seen anything on compensation. What the hell are they moving up for?
O-line.
Yeah, O-line. And they're already.
Or could be Barmore,
Man, that front seven would be nasty. He could be going all in on defense.
Yeah.
I think I'm with you. I think it actually might be Barmore. That might be the only thing that makes kind of sense here.
Because no way it's a tight end. No way.
Yeah. Real quick, let's go back to Elijah Moore. We'll put a cap on that. I think the Jets could potentially move on from Jamison Crowder. Just try to get like get like a 5th, 6th round pick for him next year, flip him, and just make Elijah Moore full time.
There would definitely be a market out there for him.
Yeah. Oh man, the Broncos just trade up for Javonte Williams.
Wow.
Ugh.
Good pick.
TJ's gonna be pissed because his 2 favorite guys at the running back position for Dynasty are Javonte and Melvin.
It's not great for this year.
It's not great for Javonte now.
It's not great for this year, but Melvin Gordon will not be on that team next year.
Yeah.
Next year, that'll be nice. But man,
it's right now, it's a better landing spot than Etienne.
You think so?
Yeah, because James Robinson's not going anywhere.
Okay.
Damn.
Man, moving up for a running back here. Let me see what they gave up.
What did they give? Yeah, what did they give up for him?
I'm scrolling through. Joe just texted me 1 million puke emojis.
And it sucks because Javonte was day 1 ready, and he's going to get carries.
Yeah, so Field Yates has it. So the Falcons traded back to 40. They picked up 114 and flipped the Broncos 219. So Broncos pick up like a mid fourth. I think that would be 114. Yeah, be like an early fourth. That's not a bad
trade for the Broncos.
Yeah,
I don't hate it.
Yeah, it's not a bad trade at all.
I mean, they just have nobody to throw the ball. I mean,
that's the only problem. The most important position in all of sports, they don't have anybody.
I mean, they can check down to their guys, but they're not going to take advantage of Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton. I mean,
man, they are freaking loaded though. Between Sutton coming back, Jeudy, Fant,
and Noah Fant, yeah,
great running backs. I mean, Tim Patrick's one of the most
questionable O-line.
Yeah, man, they were freaking loaded.
Look, what is going on? Like the NFL is not viewing this offensive line class as very good at all.
Well, I think Joe said Tevin Jenkins has a medical problem. So that
yeah. But I mean, there's a lot of guys that you just if you go back just 5 years, I mean, just the way teams were drafting offensive linemen, I mean, they just dominated the draft.
Yeah,
it's not happening this year. What were there? 4 offensive linemen first round?
I think it was 5. Okay. I think it was 5.
All right, Dolphins.
What are we thinking here? Oh, man.
Hope you had to go cornerback here again, or defensive help.
No, I don't think they go.
Harris still available?
Is who?
Najee Harris, running back, Alabama.
Is he available?
Yeah, I'm just fucking with you guys.
Okay.
I think they go defense here. A non-fantasy eligible player.
I would love it if it was Trey Sermon.
Ooh, Sermon here this early.
I'm not saying it's happening, but I would love it.
Yeah. Man.
Pick is in, so I'm sure one of you guys is going to know soon.
Oh, God.
Who?
Oh, man. They took a safety.
Did they take Greg?
No, they took Javon Holland.
Well, I'm not gonna knock it because I trust this team the way they put that defense together last year. I'm gonna see how it plays out before.
Wow. Well, I wonder if the Falcons knew the Dolphins wanted Holland and they could get Moehrig back at 40. Because the Eagles aren't taking a safety. Bengals aren't taking a safety. Panthers could take a safety. But damn.
I mean, Flores spent his first season loading up on defensive backs, cornerbacks and safeties, stashing some veteran players to see if they'd stay healthy. They drafted heavy that way. So it doesn't surprise me. They thinned out a little bit at the safety position. Eric Rowe's not getting any younger. Doesn't surprise me with his defensive heavy mindset as Flores has. And, he's trying to put as many defensive backs on the field at once. He's going to put 5 or 6 in there if he can, particularly with that linebacking core. So doesn't necessarily surprise me. I thought that he could do that in the next couple of rounds. So
I wonder if there's a medical thing out there for Moehrig.
Could be.
Because he's just tumbling.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Justin? Because I mean, I thought he was easily the top safety here.
Yeah, same here. And I don't know enough about his medical status.
Oh no, just your opinion about him in general is all.
Oh no, he's skill wise, he's got it, and also overall decently sized, and multidimensional, which we need a lot of these days. So, and it's not really a deep safety class. That's the other problem. I'm surprised. I mean, I'm surprised he's still on board. They've gone really cornerback heavy so far. Not a whole lot of safeties have left. Matter of fact, is this the first safety?
The first safety.
Yeah, the first safety. Yep.
Wow.
They must know something about him because.
Right.
Jeez.
Yeah, that is. It's been a weird draft for defensive players. Obviously, super heavily front loaded for offensive players at the beginning of the draft. I'm spoiled to having at least a DeForest Buckner or Joey Bosa or Chase Young or somebody there up at the top. But
hey, I will say, good job, Justin, on your rookie rankings, because I'm looking in a lot of places and nobody even has Javon Holland ranked, and we have him as our number 7 DB. Good job.
Thanks, man.
Really
he's a lot of that is it's just great to have Cosell around.
Yeah.
He's got so much game tape, and he's the best at it. So, and a part of it is just the safety class is so thin, and again, he's multidimensional. He can play a lot of positions for I wasn't sure he was going to land at Miami, but he can move around, and that's what we need more and more of that in today's NFL. That's for sure.
I have a huge problem trying to get Pac-12 film. Like it's on lockdown by the Pac-12 network. I'm only able to get like partial games, so I haven't seen a lot. I haven't seen a lot of this guy.
Yeah,
to be perfectly honest.
By the way, I was pulling out my white marker to add a JR at the end of my Asante Samuel jersey. Wishful thinking.
Is that who they're taking?
No. I was just about to butt in here. So a couple huge news. The Eagles just took. Yeah, they just took sorry, I'm going between a couple of things here. They just took Landon Dickerson. Eagles took Landon Dickerson. Bengals just traded 38 to the Patriots.
Ooh.
Yeah. So Dickerson is going to go to the Eagles here. They get some interior help.
I wonder if the Patriots were I wonder if they had tried to move up to try to get more somewhere, like Brett had mentioned, because they did end up moving up here.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
well, guys. I bet I was texting Joe earlier. I had Eagles going O-line at 37 at plus 850. That is easily the biggest hit of my draft.
Oh, good job. Eagles need it, man. They need some offensive line help.
Oh, that's baby, Patriots just traded up for
Barmore, Barmore. They got him.
Oh, that's a great value, man.
That's
definitely a Belichick guy right there.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll help his bare front.
Value.
Yeah,
because there's nothing else defensive interior on the board. He was it. They just cornered the market, right? Yeah. Would you agree, Justin?
Oh yeah, I mean he's my top prospect for defensive interior for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean there's nobody knows how to use that like 5 and 6 defensive front better than Belichick. So that's a great find for him.
I guarantee that was his guy. And he was and he was loving seeing him drop the way he is. And then he's just like, all right, that's it. Let's go get him,
Yeah. And Belichick's love of Alabama players. Basically show up almost NFL ready. So this is great for him.
He got Mac Jones and Barmore. So geez, that's a nice duo right there. They've done a good job. They're right up there with the Jets right now, in my opinion.
I posted what I thought was like a really funny meme just about like Nick Saban, a picture of Nick Saban with Bill Belichick. Like, don't worry. I told Denver, I told San Francisco, I told Chicago that Mac Jones stinks. Tua Tagovailoa is way better. He's going to fall to you at 15. Don't worry. You don't have to trade up. He's not going to be cocky going in. He'll be there at 15. And I wonder, the same thing with Barmore is like,
right.
Middle of the road. He's okay. And, Belichick just gets them both. His buddy, Nick Saban.
Yep.
All right, Panthers.
Yeah.
I think they're going to go receiver, to be honest.
Well, I bet them to go receiver. I thought they'd get more. Did not see the Jets taking them at 34. It's a great spot again.
That was a little bit of a surprise.
I think I'm with you. I think they go receiver.
Yeah. I'm thinking maybe Rondell Moore.
That's exactly what my head was at too, man. They got to get a yak guy to replace Curtis Samuel.
Yeah. I mean, it's not the greatest value because I think they're the difference between different players, but I think there's not a huge drop off between Rondell and St. Brown. But I wouldn't say it's a bad value at all. I think it's just right around value.
Yeah.
To pick up more here.
Let's see here.
I'm going to be in on Javonte because
are you?
Benjamin Albright tweeted out yesterday that Denver wanted to trade up for Najee Harris if he fell further. Pat Shurmur has said multiple times he prefers a bell cow running back to a committee situation. They drafted Saquon, and that's what he said. He wants a running back who plays every down, is involved in the passing game. We saw Steven Jackson come away with nearly 700 carries, 150 targets in 2 seasons. Trent Richardson had 300 plus touches his rookie year. LaShawn McCoy went off. Saquon went off. And Tom Pelissero tweeted this out. Ian Rappaport said this on his podcast, that they signed Melvin Gordon to be their bell cow last year. And then he just really underwhelmed in camp, and they were forced into a committee that they didn't want. So I wonder if they traded up for Javonte to be their bell cow, and ADP is not going to reflect that. So I think he's going to be a guy I'm going to be targeting. Could see 18 to 22 carries.
Well, Scott, for Dynasty, this is awesome because Melvin Gordon is 28 now. He's not going to be on the team in 2022.
Right.
But they just, and
Javonte is like the youngest running back in the class.
He's
a full year younger than Etienne, who's a full year younger than Harris.
Yeah, he was a non-redshirt junior. But my thing is, they just gave Gordon all that guaranteed money. I think they're going to give him like $7 million guaranteed.
If they bench him, then they can't move him for any value. I think they have to play him.
Yeah. They're going to play him for sure. I think for this year, it's going to be like direct 50-50. Maybe Javonte beats him out because he's just better. But for Dynasty, I think long-term, this is just fine for Williams. Because
I agree with Scott, though. I think that Javonte's the guy there. You're not going to want anything to do with Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, I could see Williams being a value for sure.
Yeah, he's the guy you want to go after, but I just don't think it's going to happen in year 1.
Scott, Williams will be if you have 0 RB teams, Williams will be that guy.
All I know is his ADP is going to be a lot lower than it should be. What's the bell cow potential? It's, a committee situation is probably most likely, but ADP is going to reflect like a guaranteed committee where they think he's probably the RB2. I think he might already be the RB1. They traded up for him in the 2nd round.
He's essentially a 1st round pick. The first couple picks in the 2nd round, it's a 1st round pick.
Yeah.
It's you're splitting hairs really.
All right, guys. Panthers traded with the Bears. Bears moved up to get Tevin Jenkins.
So not that concerned. That's good, man. Give Fields some protection, man. I like Jenkins. If he's going to be healthy enough to play, that's a nice addition. That's another nice value as well. I think the Bears are up there with the Jets and the Patriots.
Dude, they desperately needed offensive line, especially tackle. Like they have had nothing at tackle since they lost Long.
But you know who else this is big for? David Montgomery.
Good point. Yeah, it's a really good point.
He had nothing in front of him. He's missing tackles left and right. Just probably one of the top 3 most elusive running backs in the NFL. And he's had nothing protecting him.
Yeah.
No lanes open up for
going back to the Jets. They do. Big winner is LaMichael Pirine. My goodness, unless they draft a Trey Sermon or someone like that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they have, like LaMichael Pirine, basically like no running game, which you could see Zach Wilson really impressed from a fantasy perspective, and some of these receivers being, fantasy gold in year 1.
As of right now,
a little early. They could still go. We could still see him get a running back in the 3rd.
Yeah, but we all agreed we hate every running back outside of the top 3, or at least I know Graham does.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like Sermon, but
and then what about Gainwell? I mean, they could add Gainwell to pair with Pirine or something.
I think Gainwell.
I'd like that.
I think
Gainwell's my RB4.
I think Gainwell's strictly a passing down back.
No, I do too. Yeah. I'm saying, play Pirine as your early down, and then.
I mean, isn't LaMichael Pirine more of a pass catcher too?
And no, I don't think so.
No, I don't think. Yeah, he was.
No, Malik Davis was the receiving back the entire time.
Yeah. I mean, he had 40 catches in his final year at Florida. That doesn't happen in the SEC.
Well, Malik Davis was hurt that year.
Yeah, he played almost every snap. They just had nothing else. I was going to say the Jets only have one more day 1 pick.
Day 1.
Or sorry, day 2. My bad. they'd have to trade back up to get into the, potentially the Sermon Gainwell range.
This
most
is
likely.
the new Jets. They like to trade up.
True. Oh man.
And I was knocking their guy Douglas. I kind of feel bad because they're up there top 3 teams for me right now.
Yeah, Joe Douglas has done a freaking masterful job right now.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, he was there last year, and I didn't love some of the moves he made.
Yeah.
But I love that combo right there, Mac Jones and Barmore.
Oh, that Adam Gase guy.
Yeah, but Douglas, he was in control.
Yeah. I think it's hilarious, Ben, that literally every single skill position player or quarterback that moves on from Adam Gase immediately becomes a better player just by getting away from them. It's amazing. Yeah, fair.
That's the guy I was completely forgot about. Diami Brown. That's the guy. That could be the next wide receiver we see.
I saw Diami Brown getting linked to the Chiefs, so that'd be a little bit later.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to last that long.
I don't think he's going to get that long either, but
I have Diami. Where do I have him here? I had him at 10. I think that's still a little too low.
Scott, I know you and TJ were all over Diami Brown in our rookie drafts here before the draft.
Yeah, I mean, I like him, but expected draft capital is supposed to be amazing. I thought it was interesting. Lance Zierlein and Dane Brugler both have him going to Kansas City in their mock.
Yep.
That would be amazing. Nico Collins is another guy who's apparently, skyrocketed up boards. He's supposed to go potentially the next wide receiver taken, if not Rondale Moore.
Wow, you think Nico Collins could go in the second round? Damn.
That'd be terrible value.
Add in Terrace Marshall's injury concerns, and it's very possible.
Oh, well, yeah, Marshall slipping has just been,
But I don't love Nico Collins as a prospect. I
No,
said
you're drafting
he's big, he's athletic, he plays on the
alone.
outside, but is there anything else to like about him? And I'm not sure there is.
Yeah.
You can play Diami on the outside, and you get the athleticism, and you get monster wingspan, and you get the production that Nico Collins never gave at Michigan. There's no way. There's no comparison between the two.
Yeah. Well, this
I'll
class
take
was
Wallace over Nico.
Yeah, this class was starved for big boundary receivers outside of Chase. And I could see Collins coming up the board just because this class really doesn't have anybody. Seth Williams has size. I love Terry. I have been drafting Terry. That's music to my ears, Wes, because I've been targeting Terry in every single one of my rookie drafts so far.
Yeah, I have him in my Debbie leagues. So.
I'm just such a sucker for guys that are big and can fucking run. That's Terry's game, man.
Yep.
Real quick, while we got some downtime here, Justin, want to get your thoughts on the Cowboys linebackers right now for IDP. Obviously Van Der Esch is gone. What do you think Micah Parsons? How do you think Micah Parsons fits in?
I think he's going to be what they were hoping LVE was going to settle into. He's again multidimensional. I hate to keep saying that, but that's where we're going in terms of defenses. One of the interesting things was that they were considering Keanu Neal moving to the will up from safety and playing a good amount of snaps there. But this now allows Neal to play. I mean, he'll play some safety. But he'll also play a little bit of linebacker, my guess is. But I think it's a great move. I think they knew last year that Van Der Esch was losing snaps toward the end of the year, and that was an atrocious defense. And if they can't keep, if you can't keep snaps up on that team, then your days are numbered. So we kind of saw the writing on the wall. They obviously didn't pick up his 5th-year option. Parsons is my favorite linebacker. That's not news to anyone. He's a phenomenal player. I think he's NFL ready. I think he'll be great for IDP purposes. But I think he can. It's going to take him a minute, but I think he can help the Cowboys defense, and they need a lot of help.
Well, yeah, no kidding. I mean, do you think? I guess what you use him, you pick him at whatever it was, 12, 13 overall. He's an off the ball linebacker. He's got to be involved in their pass rush, right? Though.
Yes, and he's got those chops.
Yeah. So I mean, he's unbelievable athlete, obviously.
Yeah. I think he might be better suited. I mean, Jalen Smith can obviously handle some of those duties as well. I actually would not be surprised if they don't use Keanu Neal in that role as well. They got a couple other young safeties back there. They can deploy Neal a little bit like Jamal Adams. He's not Jamal Adams, but he's got some of those chops too. But I think they're going to use, as a matter of fact, I would not be surprised if there aren't some alignments where Parsons plays basically Alden Smith's OLB role and straight up rushes the passer. He's got those chops, and I think he's going to move around a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I watched a couple, just charting running backs, watched,
another safety
Penn State games. Yeah. I'm about to get to that here, Wes. I watched a bunch of Penn State games, and I mean, that's how they used him, man. They used him all over the field. He was, edge rusher. They used him interior. He's going to line up all over the field for the Cowboys. But yes, the Falcons go safety, but it's not Moehrig. It's Richie Grant from UCF to replace Keanu Neal. So something's
we knew this was happening.
Something is up with Moehrig's
that too.
Medicals,
we knew Atlanta was going safety here.
Yeah,
they don't have a safety. So
they weren't going to go into the season with Jalen Hawkins and Eric Harris as their only safeties. They had a huge hole there. And Grant, I think is Wes. I'm curious what you think of him as more of a deep safety. I like him more as an in the box, basically as a replacement for Neal. But on the back end, I'd worry. So my guess is they're going to plug him up early, in the box, which is great for IDP. Let's see if he can be that run stopper up there.
Yeah, definitely better against the run than he is in coverage. But yeah, I mean, at the same time that they need both. Their defense didn't do much of anything last year. So
yeah. Justin, I wanted to chime in when you were talking about Micah Parsons, who, by the way, has some of the most egregious red flags I've ever seen from a prospect. And that's saying something. Some Giants beat writer tweeted out that Kadarius Toney had as many red flags as Micah Parsons. Wes, I know you think that's like the dumbest thing you've ever heard. You don't even think there's a single red flag with Toney. No. I just immediately...
He was being bullied by a guy almost 3 times his size. And he got caught with a BB gun or an air rifle. But they just told him, don't do it again. And then he got pulled over. He had an assault rifle on the back of his car, but he had a carry license. It was it was shown when they pulled him over. They put him in cuffs, and the video got out. They're just, you're seeing Kadarius Toney in handcuffs, but he didn't do anything wrong. They didn't even give him a ticket. I think he did actually get a citation for carrying the air rifle, but that's it. That's not a red flag. This kid's nose has been clean his entire career.
Yeah. So I immediately blocked that Giants beat writer, which is what more people should do when someone posts something dumb and inflammatory rather than give it more publicity via quote tweet. I just straight up blocked him. The end. Micah Parsons, the red flags is like, oh, bullying this. He said this, he did this. And like the last bullet point was he inserted his penis into and between a player's buttocks. And it's like, that's not a red flag. That's just rape. He like raped someone. So like massive red flag. But anyway, this is all an aside to Justin. I wanted to ask you about LVE. I mean, Luke Kuechly was a god. There's no comparison. But like when I watched LVE at the tail end of his rookie season, I was saying this is one of the best linebackers I've seen. He looks like Sean Lee, who when Sean Lee was healthy was just out of his mind. But yeah, like you said, he was losing snaps at the end of last season. So what happened? Was it, just like a fun rookie year? Or was it injuries that added up?
I think it's a combination of injuries that added up. I mean, he was shot out of a cannon his rookie year. I mean, he was all over, but he was very aggressive. He was decisive. When he came back from some of his injuries in his second season, we were on the IDP community. We were all excited. Great, he's back. He had a solid first game, but he looked hesitant. I don't want to say he looks scared. That's taking it too far, but he did look hesitant. He was slow to move, slow to react. And, I've heard athletes say, sometimes they don't trust their bodies anymore. And it's like, we know players that, will recover from an ACL injury and they don't trust their knee for an entire season. I think that's what, I didn't see anything other than him just moving slower than I expected to see him move. And so either the injuries were still nagging him or he was scared. He was hesitant. Sorry, let me say hesitant. But yeah, a totally different player than his rookie year. And I think that surprised the Cowboys and probably made them push this Parsons pick a little. Maybe I don't think they wanted Parsons. I think they were hoping for a cornerback that wasn't there. And so then they grabbed Parsons. I mean, I think it's a good pick, but it's really sad to see what happened to LVE. Hopefully he'll snap back, but it does look like it was hesitancy. I'm going to assume from post-injury because I don't know anything beyond that.
Do we know who the Lions are picking here?
Well, a couple things here. Let's see. Giants traded back again. They moved 42 to Miami. So Miami's on the clock after the Lions. I have not seen anything on the Lions. I'm trying to respond to a couple things. They took a defensive tackle.
Really?
I can't. Huh?
Really?
Yeah. I cannot pronounce this dude's last
name. Oh yeah, no, I can't either. Onwu Zariki, I think.
Onwu Zariki? Is that what we're going with?
I believe that's correct. Yeah.
All right, let's come up with a nickname.
Yeah. Levi. His first name's Levi, so Levi
Jeans. Levi Jeans.
There he
Another
is.
opt-out.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
He was an opt-out, Wes?
Yeah, the number two defensive interior for me is Togi.
Yeah, he's great. Well, I mean, wow, this could be interesting. I mean, look, the Lions need the help. It's not like they don't need the help. And we've got him as our second guy.
Good job there.
So I think he's a good fit. I'm really curious to see what this team is going to look like without Matt Patricia, because he's done a lot of damage to that defense. I want to see them kind of shake this off and come back.
Seems
I'm
like
curious.
A luxury pick, though.
Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't do more on the secondary. I mean, there's still some players left, but
yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Asante Samuel Jr. Right?
Yeah. Samuel's still on the board. Morig, as we were talking about, they could use a little safety help.
Unless there's a medical out there for Samuel as well.
I'm looking, and so far I haven't seen it, but I'm going to keep looking for it. There's got to be a reason he's
Dolphins pick is in. We seeing anything?
I haven't seen anything yet. Nothing leaked.
They traded up.
They took Lion Eichenberg, offensive lineman from Notre Dame.
Yeah.
There's that offensive lineman. Damn.
They needed it. They're going against the grain, but let's see, where did I end up with him in my ranks? I had him at 10.
And I'm just sorry, guys, but the Giants and Dave Gettleman has now traded back twice. That's literally two times more than he's done in his entire team.
I need to say this with my chest out here. When they took Saquon Barkley, I agreed with everyone that was a mistake. They should be tanking. I disagreed with everyone that they should be taking Sam Darnold or Josh Rosen, who I didn't like. I said they need to trade down. They have to trade down. And I've said that every single draft class, and he never traded down because Gettleman's never traded down. He hates trading down. And finally, they've listened to me. They're trading down. This is long overdue. I wonder how much of this is Joe Judge coming in and just the team overperformed, the team rallied around him putting his foot down and kind of taking the reins from Gettleman to a degree, saying this is what I want. Or I wonder if this is them loading up on picks to find the QB of the future next year, giving them the draft capital to trade up. I don't know. I just like it. This is smart. I didn't love the Tony pick, as you guys know. Much would have preferred Elijah Moore, but again, trading down, this is what they're doing, and they're going to have like a near, maybe not with the Tony pick, but like a highly graded draft by me, just because this is smart. They got a 1 next year. They got 2 3s. They got a 4. So,
well, dude, they got obviously they have the Bears 1 next year, and if Fields falters or the Bears fall apart, I mean, that's going to be a top 18, top 20 pick.
So I almost brought this up before the show. I was looking at rookie of the year odds, and this was right before round 2 started, and then they pulled it from the board. But Lawrence was like plus 150, Fields is like plus 200. Zach Wilson was plus 1,000, and Mac Jones was plus 1,400. And that seems surprising to me. I don't know. Where do you guys stand? Because like Chicago, we saw Trubisky, you know, the team was solid win total wise, despite him, you know, playing poorly. But I mean, I might prefer Zach Wilson or Mac Jones, especially at those odds.
Well, I think there's value in Lawrence at 150. I mean, this is a team that just won one game last year, and I think the Jags are going to be an immediate contender in that AFC South, man. Especially with the Texans falling apart, with Watson's situation lingering. Right. Wentz is a total question mark. Titans are super top heavy. I think there's value at Lawrence with plus 150. But outside of that, I mean, I'm not touching Justin Fields at plus 200.
Yeah, I don't know, because it's the one playoff team that added a quarterback.
Fair.
The best defense of the four.
That's fair.
You know, and they lost Kyle Fuller. You know, it was dumb. But you know, maybe they think they have something else that they can replace him with. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not gonna make too much of an argument, because this is kind of out of my depth. I can't even make wagers in Kentucky, so I don't even spend that much time looking at that.
Well, hopefully you can soon, man. Hopefully
so.
we'll.
Right. Yeah.
Justin, are they? Have you heard anything about Georgia?
Not yet. I mean, just bits and pieces, but they're slowly moving in that direction.
Yeah.
I think they're just going to be one of the last ones to finally go.
Yeah.
Looks like the Raiders took Morig finally. So
there you go.
He's off the board.
Hey, for once, the Raiders got a value.
Yeah.
I know. Well, it's funny you say that, Scott, because when I saw that the Raiders took him, I went, damn, there must really be something wrong with them. I'm so used to them picking poorly.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if it is a value. What if there's medicals out there and they just don't know about it?
Yeah, that doesn't instill confidence.
I mean, just first of all, it's all John Gruden. You know, the GM there is just like a figurehead. No control, no power. But yeah, he does what he wants. He's like, I like my guy. He's my Gruden grinder. I can't do voices, but and he just does not give a fuck what anyone else thinks. And he will reach a round and a guy who's going to be there 2 rounds later. He does not care.
Listen here, man. I'm going to tell you about this Trevor Morig. This guy, man, he's a grinder. He can play on all 3 downs. We're going to move him into the box. We're going to let him play out wide. We're going to let him match up against slot corners, slot receivers.
I'll tell you what, man. See, I can't do it. But I mean, they got Max Crosby. That was a great pick.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm just shocked.
He had a down year last year, but yeah, he was really good 2 years ago.
He only drafted Max Crosby, by the way, because he loves the nickname Mad Max.
Yeah, I like that.
I'll tell you what, man.
All right, guys, I told True North I would join the show, so I'm going to jump off here.
All right.
Cool.
So, okay. All right. So I'll hang around till Ben's ready for me to go.
Fantasy points, come for the analysis, stay for the bad impressions.
Pick his in with the Cowboys.
Come on, at least give me a mediocre, Justin.
No, that was good. I'll give it better than I would have done. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I'm terrible at accents. For the Raiders, I'll say that they've got a bunch of base safeties that are really more geared for the box, and Morig can play both, and likely is going to be their free safety, their deep safety, and they need it. Carl Joseph, Jonathan Abram, these guys are better in the box. Jeff Heath is a guy they'd rather not see on the field. So this could be a good pick if his medicals turn out okay.
All right, guys, I'll catch you later.
Wes,
right,
see you, man. I'll actually probably see him here in a little bit. I'm going to go meet up with them as well.
All right, I'll tell him. Sounds good. Later, guys.
See you, Wes.
I'm trying to get more dirt on Javonte Williams. I know Benjamin Albright had Denver trading up for Harris and then
really
prioritizing running back, which I know no one else saw coming, but I haven't seen anything of note come out.
So wait, Albright thought they were going to move up for Harris? Is that what he said?
Well, that's what he reported. Yeah, he said if he fell past Pittsburgh, they would have tried to move up.
Wow.
Which again, Pat Shurmur prefers a bell cow. He's said that throughout his entire career. His history with the position, really hints at that.
Dude, it's great for next year.
Cecil Lammey told me last year. So like I said, Tom Pelissero tweeted this out. Ian Rappaport talked about this on his podcast, that they wanted Melvin Gordon as their bell cow. They didn't care about Philip Lindsay. They wanted him to play a backup role. And then Cecil Lammey told me that was the plan. That was always the plan. But Melvin Gordon showed up to camp out of shape. He looked like shit. He played like shit, and they hated him. And what happened during the season, it was a committee. And when Lindsay was hurt, they gave Melvin some touches. And hey, is Melvin just dead now? That's ADP is not going to factor that in. They're going to, defer to the veteran presence. But there's a chance, I think, he's just dead. I mean, if they're trying to trade up for one of these bell cow workhorse running backs, I mean, there's a chance, ADP steal all off season long. And you loved him, Graham. I loved him. It broke the PFF record for missed tackles forced per touch, which is like the most predictive stat for a college running back as he transitions to the NFL. So dig it.
Yeah, I mean, I love it long term. I just, like I said earlier, I just still question how much they're going to give the ball to Gordon. But yeah, for Dynasty, it's awesome. And you probably will be able to get him at a slight discount now, especially if somebody's, strictly focused on this year. But yeah, long term, it's great for Javonte. All right. Cowboys are picking here. My Twitter feed's a couple picks ahead. They took Kelvin Joseph. Justin, I know nothing about Kelvin Joseph, so wax poetic, please.
Well, there's not much to know. I mean, he's a sophomore. He has 20 games under his belt. He's raw.
How old is he?
He is. Where is it? I don't have it on the top of my head. Looking for it. I mean, he's a sophomore. Yeah, but I guess it's a matter of how old he was then. Can't find it. Yeah, I'll dig that up. But yeah, he's got basically played 20 games, so he's a prospect. He's not somebody who's going to start right out of the gate. But obviously, they need some help there. They got Anthony Brown, Trayvon Diggs, but I cannot believe that Asante Samuel was sitting there and they went with Kelvin Joseph. I don't know much about Joseph except that he didn't play a ton. So
yeah, well, Joseph could be, or not Joseph, but Samuel could be falling just because he's tiny. I mean, the NFL is valuing kind of these bigger, lankier corners.
But Joseph is 5'11", 197, so he's not some huge,
Yeah,
huge
but
guy,
I mean, Samuel's 5'10", 175-ish.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Well, Dallas goes all defense here. They get Micah Parsons here and now Joseph. I just saw a tweet from Rap Sheet. So he says, I just selected here. Trevin Moehrig. Why did Moehrig fall to 43? Rap Sheet apparently said a source has told him that he injured his back while training. He wore tape on it at his workout. And scouts noticed, and he got an MRI that revealed some issues. So that's why he fell.
Makes sense.
Yeah, he was like, the mocks that I was looking at him, and he was like a back half of the first round. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say lock, but like 65% probability. But man, if the back is okay, the Raiders got a great value on him.
Yep.
So we'll see on that. The Raiders desperately need a safety. And this is one of the things I railed on them for spending all that money on Kenyon Drake is they had to get a safety, man. I just did not understand why they would spend all that money on Drake and not make a move for safety. But, hey, this worked out for him perfectly here. They got ostensibly the most talented safety in the draft, and he fell back to 43.
Yeah.
So you think they're going to line Moehrig up kind of all over the place at a free safety type of position, Justin?
Yeah, I think he profiles well as a free safety. The interesting part is that the Raiders liked to play a lot of single high, and he didn't play much single high in college. So we see this sometimes. I remember it with the Chargers. Joey Bosa, they picked Joey Bosa. They were a 3-4 team, and they're everybody flipped out because they picked Joey Bosa, who is much better suited to have his hand on the ground and be a defensive end. And lo and behold, is because they were changing their defensive scheme, and Bosa fit it perfectly. So that's a big question. Are they now going to move to more of a cover 2, cover 4 team? That's what it looks like. But I think got the skills to play, single high safety, play center field if need be. But, there's just not you are taking a little bit of a leap of faith because you just haven't seen it much.
Right. Well, I mean, he's going to be a week 1 starter for them. There's no other options. I mean, he's going to be thrown right into the fire,
Yes,
they got nothing else. So I am in my head laughing my ass off here. Walker Little just went to Jacksonville. Trent Baalke is now their GM. And Walker Little tore his ACL last year. The legend of Baalke stands, where he takes at least one dude with a torn ACL in every single draft.
Right.
Does this warrant a sound effect?
Yes, 100%.
All right, we got the sound effect you've all been waiting for.
Thank you, Trent Baalke here.
3, 2, 1, go.
Woo!
All right. Well, hopefully you heard that. I didn't hear it, but hopefully you guys heard that. So Joe Dolan tweeted out, he raised a good point. The Bengals traded back from pick 38. They got pick 46, 122, 139. And Joe was wondering if they misevaluated, their board and how many offensive linemen were still on. Like, we know offensive line is a serious need, but Landon Dickerson's gone. Tevin Jenkins is gone. Liam Eichenberg is gone. Walker Little is gone. And so, they might have just really screwed themselves over and missed out on a potential starting offensive lineman. I know PFF, I know Brett Whitefield, I know Wes Huber are high on a number of those names. Greg Cosell as well, of course. But let's talk about some fantasy eligible prospects here. I'm not expecting a single running back to be taken in round 2. Pat Freiermuth in maybe 15 picks would not surprise me. Wes, you might think maybe a little earlier. Wide receiver, I think we could see Rondale Moore go. We talked about Diami Brown a little bit later, Terrace Marshall a little bit later. Quarterback, I don't think we're going to see one. We could see, Trask or Mond or Mills, but I don't think so. Are there any other fantasy eligible players we need to be on the lookout for here?
Man, I think you nailed it. I think it'll be receivers. That's going to be the big part of the second and third round. I will be shocked if we get more than 2 running backs on day 2. Sermon and Gainwell, I guess somebody could move up for. Yeah, man, it's just such a shitty class for running backs. But yeah, I think we're going to see quite a few receivers go off the board here. We've had heavy trenches since the Barrymore pick with the Patriots, but I think we'll start it shift back to receivers. The Saints and the Packers at the back end of the second round have to be licking their freaking chops, and the Chiefs too. They've got 63. I believe 63 and another second. They got 58 in the Ravens trade. They've got to be licking their chops for all these receivers that are falling right now between Moore, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Diami Brown. There's quite a few. So yeah, we are not even close to done with receivers.
Sorry to interrupt you, Graham. Just wanted to say Bengals did take an offensive lineman with this pick at number 47. They got Clemson offensive tackle Jackson Carman. So, if that was their guy all along, if they thought he was the next best offensive lineman, then that's a great pick and trade back. But
he played left tackle for Lawrence for last 2 years.
Liam Eichenberg, Walker Little, Tevin Jenkins, Landon Dickerson, those are all guys who are flirting with a round 1 expected draft capital. So, yeah, it just depends on their evaluation of the player. I wouldn't be shocked if they got sniped and regretted the trade back.
Yeah, possibly. Like I said, Little has a torn ACL, so we'll see. What his return is like. All right, so Justin, Asante Samuel's off the board. The Chargers just took him at 47 here.
Wow.
Yeah,
I like that. Yeah, with Chris Harris getting up there in age, Michael Davis is pretty solid. But I could. I think in a perfect world, Chris Harris spends the rest of his career, just in the slot where he does most of his damage. And I think Samuel could work outside sooner rather than later. So it's a good pick. I still can't believe he's fallen this far. I'm sure the Chargers think the same thing. I'll do some digging too to see if there's some news on why he fell so far. But to me, this is great. The Chargers have some really nice pieces on defense. But missing a few players last year, they got picked apart more so than they should have. I think this is going to help their secondary. Obviously, it'll be nice to have Derwin James back if he can stay healthy. So, good pick for them. It also might help. They don't need much help in the pass rush, but it always helps to have a young corner out there. IDP purposes, I like this pick. Samuel will get a lot of playing time, I think, early and often, and across from Michael Davis, he should get targeted a lot, and that always leads to some extra production. The kind of the gold mine of a rookie corner, and we've seen it a ton. Is that guy who gets picked on a lot. Every quarterback's going to throw at him, but he just keeps picking the ball. He just past defense, he keeps getting interceptions. And it takes about 12 games for quarterbacks to finally go, maybe we shouldn't throw to that guy, but he already has 5 picks on the season already. Samuel could be that guy here. I don't see that too much coming from I'm blanking on for the Panthers. Horn.
Oh, JC Horn.
I could see it with Surtain and with Samuel, that these guys out of nowhere, all of a sudden they got 4 picks 9 games into the season for reasons like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you mentioned it. Chris Harris is going to strictly be slot, especially at his age. That you got to think, at least for this year, they're going to play Samuel outside, so they've got to feel very comfortable about his man-to-man coverage skills. And I know that's one of the things Cosell talked about in his write-up is he can play. He played press man-to-man at Florida State, even though he's very undersized. Yeah. So yeah, he's got to be. They've got to feel very, very comfortable starting him outside here.
Yeah.
Man, fun first couple picks, even though it's not been super relevant outside of for fantasy. Sorry, right. Justin, not IDP.
No worries.
But no, fun. This has been fun, man. There's been a lot of picks in the trenches, which is kind of what we expected. Offensive line just flying off the board here. Barrymore comes off the board.
Yeah. It's a change of pace from yesterday, because I had to spend the first half of the draft listening to Kings of Leon and then sit around and watch all the offensive players. So I didn't really wake up till about 9:15 when my guys started flying off the board. So.
Yeah, well, it was outside of maybe Surtain going to 9. It was a pretty chalk first couple hours.
Yeah.
There.
Yes, it was.
It was a pretty chalk first couple hours, but yeah, man. Hopefully we'll get some receivers off the board, like Scott was saying a little bit later. All right, so Chargers took Samuel. Niners are on the clock. I think the Cardinals are kind of a dark horse for a receiver here.
Wait, the Niners are on the clock?
Niners are on the clock.
They traded with the Raiders, right?
Yeah, they traded. They traded back Bike.
So probably another defensive player.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
There are a couple of dark horses on the defensive side. Justin Hilliard, linebacker, didn't do a ton in college, but he profiles to be develop into a nice pro player, and he's kind of fallen down. Also, I really like Carlos Basham, the edge rusher out of Wake Forest. So these could be some late round picks that we could see early this season, kind of come out of nowhere.
Nice, yeah. What Justin, this has been like, I can't remember, the first defensive lineman comes off the board. It's Phillips, in the back half, basically the back half of the first round. We have no defensive tackles taken in the first round, basically the first time ever that's happened. Do you think it's a paradigm shift, or is it just a really shit class? Because, the last couple classes have been great for edge rushers.
Yeah, I think it's just I think it's a combination. It's a shit class really for defensive altogether. I mean, there's, it's really top heavy, right? But also, so many quarterbacks, so many wide receivers, so I just think they get pushed up the board because, I I think it's kind of a combination, but it's really weird to see. It's really weird that we're not talking about an edge rusher going in the top 5 or the top 10. No. Like we've had Chase Young, we've had Joey Bosa, we've had DeForest Buckner, we've had all these like monsters get taken in the first couple of picks. So it was a really weird start to the draft for that reason. And even the guys that got taken in the first round, I mean, I think Parsons is going to be a really good player. Same for Surtain, but none of these like Jalen Ramsey type, just like or Jamal Adams, some of these just like no brainers, So it's been a little bit slow going in that way. But I think now what it does create is it does create some value. Like I said, for some of these, we've just seen a Samuel. I mean, what do you go 44th or something? It's kind of crazy, But that's just kind of how it works. I don't think it's necessarily much of a paradigm shift. One thing that is interesting is, man, they're just, every team is loading up in the secondary. Just you cannot have enough cornerbacks these days in the NFL, and people are taking stabs at Joseph. We just talked about he's barely played in college, and they're like, well, we need another one, so let's give this guy a shot. It's almost like throwing cornerbacks against the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, every team plays nickel. Like nickel is base defense now, and you've got to have 3 corners minimum on the field every time. And yeah, that's what we're seeing. It's just these. It doesn't even matter experience, doesn't matter medicals. Caleb Farley, I thought might slip out the first round because he's coming off so many injuries, but it didn't matter. I mean, he was still a top. He's still a top 30 pick, so it didn't even matter.
Yeah, I think what the Ravens did a couple of years ago with, 6 and 7 DBs out there at times, and they're all, they're blitzing. They're multiple roles, and it just confused offenses. It's a copycat league, so I think, I'm sure defensive coordinators are tired of watching running backs just run right by their inside linebackers, and so this is the move they're making. They want lighter, faster inside linebackers, but only 1 or 2 on the field at once, and then just an entire they just want to rain down all of these cornerbacks and safeties, and with the way the league is going, I don't think it's a bad move.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you mentioned, these running backs that can not only just split out but just beat linebackers in one-on-one coverage. It seems like every year there's 3 to 4 guys I'm watching that are just getting better and better as route runners. I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was I thought one of the best route runners we've seen come out recently. Obviously, he got hurt last year. Chiefs didn't really use him as much, but I mean, he's up there. Kenny Gainwell is going to be another one. We'll see Gainwell probably come off the board. I bet later tonight, maybe early tomorrow. But yeah, this is I mean, that's exactly right. I mean, 5-6 DBs is the minimum at this point. And like you said, the Ravens are kind of at the forefront of that. Real quick on Farley. Titans play a lot of man, right? So you think Farley is going to? Yeah, you think Farley is a good fit there?
Yeah, pretty good fit. They played. It's funny, like the percentage of man. Like if you play a high percentage of man, it's still maybe 50%.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so I think they're around 45. I'll have to check SIS again here soon, but I think they're around 45. I do think it's a fairly good fit for them. He's not my favorite corner here, but he obviously he's got medicals, right? He's got back and knee issues. But I think he could work out there. He's going to play man fine. I'm hoping that they keep a high percentage of man because I think zone isn't his strength. And like I said, he's banged up. So we'll hope if that holds up, I think he's going to be fine. But and then there's we already talked a little bit about it, but I totally do not understand the Eric Stokes pick by the Packers. I mean, I know they
just wanted to piss Aaron Rodgers off. They just hate that guy.
He's gonna quit. He's gonna retire and be the Jeopardy host now.
Yeah.
They want to start Jordan Love, but they don't want a reason for it. They're like, he's just a dick in the locker room. They hate this guy. Right. But he's so good, so they're forced. I just wanted to say, the Chargers are having a phenomenal draft. Asante Samuel was extremely highly regarded. And then best case scenario, Rashawn Slater falling to them at 13. They have the reigning rookie of the year who just had one of the statistically greatest seasons by any rookie quarterback ever. Justin Herbert just, blowing my mind.
Yeah.
But a bottom 3 offensive line, Rashawn Slater, massive improvement. So very exciting to be a Los Angeles Charger fan. I'm pulling up the list of PFF's next best available players. Jeremiah Owusu Koromoa. That's who the Cardinals just took, apparently. We'll let you talk about that in a second, Justin. Terrace Marshall, Aziz Ojolari, Dylan Radins, Rondale Moore.
Radins is on the board. Yeah. About Radins.
Justin, your thoughts on Jock?
Yeah, exactly. JOK, we call him. The Cardinals, did they take him? Okay.
Oh, I see it now too. It's Rondale Moore.
Okay.
The Cardinals?
Yeah, Cardinals.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I said that a little bit ago. I was like, I think the Cardinals are a dark horse here for a receiver.
Poor man's Andy Isabella. Or just kidding. Rich.
R.I.P. to Andy Isabella.
Right.
Scott, I know you liked Rondale Moore a little bit. Why don't you give us your thoughts here, man?
Yeah, I just mean he had one of the greatest age 18 seasons in college football history. He dealt with injuries over the next 2 seasons, but still averaged, over 100 yards from scrimmage per game. He ranked second best all time in career receptions per game. So he has that PPR cheat code potential. In the top 3 is Devontae Adams and Michael Crabtree. I just like him, man. He's hyper athletic. The only knock on him is height, which could be a concern in Arizona. I don't think Kyler Murray is a very accurate passer, but you take that out of the equation and he's just like a freak athlete. I said he's like if Secretariat were a Shetland pony, just like souped up out of his mind, but like so tiny and compact. Right. He has some like Steve Smith to his game, another undersized receiver. Cole Beasley on steroids with Kryptonian DNA, something like that. But just like the way he moves, just dynamic after the catch, so exciting, makes so much sense. Cliff Kingsbury is just like drooling over this guy's potential, and I don't blame him one bit. The fit is interesting. Larry Fitzgerald, are you just going to relegate him to the bench at this point because he's too old and slow to play anywhere but the slot, and Rondale Moore can't play anywhere but the slot given his size?
They might go 4 wide. That's what they've wanted to do.
That's a great point.
That was my first thought, man. You mentioned Kyler not being accurate. He has been so inaccurate over the middle part of the field. Like that's his biggest bugaboo. So maybe, I don't know, man, maybe Kingsbury's thinking we get more, great separator in the interior, make reads easier for Kyler. I know they're going to use him on jet sweep stuff, not only in their, passing game, but in the run game too, as kind of, an extension of play action. Really interesting pick. I think outside of the Tony pick, I think this is the most interesting receiver pick we've gotten so far. But man, Rondale Moore, he's a Cardinal. That's gonna be fun. I think, Kingsbury, I question how sharp he actually is, but hopefully they go 4 wide.
Big sharp.
Yeah, he's a fake sharp.
Pretty sure.
He's a fake sharp. Rondale Moore. Guys, this has been, we are going on, Scott and I are at least going on hour 8 here. We're coming up on 8. Yeah, we're coming up on 8:30 Eastern. Ben has been listening to us blabber for the last 2 nights, and I'm sure he wants a break and to spend some time with his fiance. Everybody that has been hanging out for us for the last 2 nights, thank you so much. It's been a blast. It's the best way to spend the last couple nights with y'all. Want to mention that this is the final day for our early bird special. You can get a nice little discount on the site. So if you haven't re-upped for 2021, make sure you do that. Make sure this is the last day for 20% off for the early bird. So again, get in on that. We won't be cheaper at any point. And honestly, shit, you can go back through, read Cosell's 200 plus profiles, see what Cosell thought of all your team's picks. So just another incentive there to get it. But yeah, last day, early bird. Scott, thanks for hanging out, man. Last 8 hours have been fun. Justin, thanks for popping in, talking.
My pleasure.
IDP with us, man. And I'll hit you up. We're gonna go in May, so I'll hit you up for maybe the Braves game if we can.
Let's do it.
Swing it. But yeah, for Scott, for Justin, for Ben, guys, this has been great. Thanks for hanging out. We'll catch you next time.
See you.